And one by one, the mics are going off. Welcome to It's Erik Nagel. That is me. 866-969-1969 is the phone number if you want to get in touch with the program. And I suggest you do so tonight because we are giving away another round of Win Opie's personal media collection.
Yes.
So anybody who calls in and actually contributes to the show today will win something.
I love how much heat the color purple gets every time you tweet
When I put that
picture.
photo up?
Yeah. And everything. That's number one thing is the color purple. People are amazed by it.
Well, I'm surprised that's what's getting the heat, other than the fact that last week I said that photo has nothing to do with the collection. It's just a stock photo that I found off somebody's website. And it looked good, so I put it in there. So we're going to have that, 866-969-1969, again, is the phone number, so you can contribute to whatever we're talking about tonight. Let's go around the room and see who's here, talk about our guests. The usual. Sure. Matt OG is here. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram.
Indeed.
How you been?
All right. It's been an okay week, I think. I didn't get to go to the barbecue festival last week, and I was kind of bummed out.
Yeah, I didn't either. But Gittles did, who was also here. He went with Roland.
Oh, my God. I ate so much food. I feel like I've been just sweating pigs for like a week. Like, every time I go somewhere, people are like, is there a fire in here? I'm like, nope, I'm just sweating. It's just smoke. I've just been eating too much. The U-Bonds people were awesome. Like, we were there, and they were just going to other people's tents and stealing food. They're like, hey, you should try this. And then we all went there. The guy's like, hey, that's our food. They're like, here, eat it. And we're like, all right, this is great.
The U-Bonds people gave it to me. It's okay then.
Yeah, they gave it to me. They were just giving us like bourbon drinks. They really took care of us.
Well, I gotta say, what I did was, because I couldn't go, I made my own ribs and I used the U-Bond sauce, and they came out pretty good. Not like U-Bond's good,
yeah,
but good enough that I was at least satisfied.
Oh man, it was a good time. It was definitely fun. Highly recommend it next year if anyone is in the area.
Yeah, I wish I could have gone this year. I went the year before. Was a good time.
Right.
Who doesn't like getting barbecue? And apparently a lot of free barbecue because I guess Gittles and Roland were being chauffeured around through all the different vendors there. And they said, oh, these are good friends of ours. And then one of the U-Bahn guys would just, hop the fence, grab a slab of ribs, and then hand it to him like when they bring the ribs to Fred Flintstone's car.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
Well, there you go.
I want free meat.
Yeah,
Lisa
you should
Corrao's
definitely
here.
do it.
Hey,
Hi,
guys.
how are you?
I'm great. Hello. Yes, I wanted to go to the barbecue thing too, but the night before here, I overdid it. I gotta tell you. I did not feel well the next day. I felt amazing while we were eating. I think I ate for like the first 2 hours of the show, and then at some point I had to stop and my stomach was making noises that were embarrassing. I was hoping you guys weren't hearing that.
Picking up on Mike.
Yeah.
Well, at some point during the show last week, someone put that like tinfoil packet of
the burnt ends.
The burnt ends next to me, and I couldn't help it. It was with arm's reach, and
it was just like popcorn.
I know.
It was just like, oh yeah, I'll just keep eating this meat as popcorn.
Tears were coming out of my eyes. I was just crying. I was emotional over all of the smoked meats. It was great.
Well, I'm
then I
glad
was
you all
sick.
had a good time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That
Yeah.
was the whole point
It's
of the
always a
thing.
good time.
This week on the show, no meats, no food.
Thank
we
God.
need to
Just
decompress
seltzer.
a little bit.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be happy to say like no food. I'm actually kind of happy. I might eat one of these books.
We got to decompress just a tiny bit because we have today's show, and then next week is our 1 year anniversary for the program.
That's right.
But also, it means we're going somewhere.
Miami.
We're going down to Miami for Florida SuperCon.
Yeah.
June 25th through the 28th. Come down and join us if you can.
Sure.
If you're down in that area there. It's a busy time. Like if you're going there just to check the con out and have shop and try to get some autographs and photos, it's fun. But when you're working the other side, oh my God, it's so insanely busy.
Yeah, you guys are going to be. You're not going to have any downtime at all. It looks like it. Little bits here and there.
In the morning, most of our stuff is midday to the close of the con. So we at least got the mornings to ourselves.
Yeah, but you're going to be sleeping. Let's be honest.
No, not this trip.
Eric's going to be by the pool.
Yes.
In a lawn chair with himself.
I will be up early getting breakfast. Probably by poolside and living there until 11:59 when we have to leave.
There you go. Fair enough.
because I don't have a pool up here, and I don't know anybody really that has a pool.
No.
I want access to a pool, but it's just not happening.
You need to get just one of those little pools. I picture you like Andrew McCarthy in the beginning of Weekend at Bernie's, with just your feet in the kiddie pool with like a drink by your side.
At least you didn't say like Homer Simpson in an inflatable pool trying to find the hot dog that he dropped into the kiddie pool.
I'm picturing like Monty with little swimmies on, hanging out in the pool with Eric.
So next week, Wednesday through Sunday, we're going to be there. Matt unfortunately can't make it for this round, but Gittles, Roland, and myself will be down there. Lisa will be down there doing her own thing and joining us time to time.
Nice.
And my booth is next to you guys, so we're going to be neighbors. And
we're going to throw stuff
on
at
the
you.
Floor. Yes.
And every time people come over there, we're going to try to dissuade them from trying to take a proper photo with you. Let's ruin her photos.
All right.
No!
So this is what you have to do now. Before you leave to get on the plane, go to Spencer's. Is Spencer still a thing? Spencer's is still
Yeah,
a
it
thing,
is.
right? Go buy marshmallow guns.
I was
The
just
ones
gonna get
that
those
shoot the
Nerf
little
darts.
ones?
The Nerf dart guns.
Spencer's has sort of become a dildo store, guys.
I always thought it
Well,
was.
not necessarily.
Last
There's
time you've
plenty
been
of
in
insane
one.
clown posse stuff up front, mixed with Dr. Seuss hats for some reason.
Yeah. I think
And
they
black
might
lights.
still sell. Yes, it has become a dildo store. When did that happen?
I don't know,
It's
but it
always
used
been
to
a
be
dildo
fun to
store.
go there for black lights and like a booby mug, maybe
Yeah,
a fart
right.
machine.
Yeah, fart
right, a fart
machine.
machine.
Yeah.
One day I walked in there and I was like, oh, that's
all
a butt plug.
vibrators.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right. And there's that in the middle of the mall. So cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, come down to that, and we'll have a good time. Now here's some
changing the topic.
program changes for you. We were going to originally be broadcasting Friday night back to New York here and everything live on Sirius XM. That's not going to happen. So what's going to be in place is we're going to do for Friday night of Too Many Stars.
Okay.
I'm just going to fill the whole thing with interviews that we got to run. So there's going to be a lot of good stuff on Friday, which I do encourage you to listen to. Patrick Warburton's going to be on the show.
Oh, nice.
If you don't know who he is, the most famous role, he's Putty from Seinfeld.
Sure.
But he's also, he's the Tick.
He's a big Devils fan.
Joe on
He's a big,
yeah.
He's Joe on Family
Joe on
Guy.
Family Guy.
He's Brock Sampson on Venture
Yep.
Brothers.
Best character.
Right. So a whole bunch of things
Yeah.
where he just plays himself.
You know Patrick Warburton.
Right.
Yeah.
So he'll be on the
Yeah,
show.
you know.
Catherine McPhee, if you watch the show Scorpions on CBS, which I am a fan of, she'll be on the program. Joanna Garcia Swisher, you may not know who she is, but she's going to be in the brand new ABC. It's called a special event, The Astronauts' Wives Club. It's the book adaptation. It's
Okay.
like a mini series on that whole thing. She's one of the stars in there. She'll be here at the return of Bella Thorne to the program.
Ooh,
she'll be here,
the
and
return.
a couple more.
You were making puppy dog eyes at her in the first time she was here, so she came back. That's
She was
impressive.
very touchy-feely, and, I had to restrain myself knowing that I'm almost 20 years older than her.
That's sure.
So, that being said, Friday night will be a night of too many interviews. Let's call it night of too many interviews.
There you go. Night of too many interviews.
But Saturday of next week will be the Florida SuperCon show.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we can't do it on Friday, but we're going to do it on Saturday. So next week you get 2 brand new shows of It's Erik Nagel, whether you like it or not.
very cool.
Awesome.
And
Nice.
they'll be up on demand. So if you miss Friday, there's no replay because we're on Saturday, and they'll both be on demand, and you can catch up on all that stuff.
Huzzah.
Going forward, tons of Comic-Con specials because
Yeah.
4th of July weekend, we're going to have a special. And then after that, we're going to San Diego Comic-Con, which
Right.
is the big one.
Sure.
And we're doing a ton of interviews. I can't even mention who the people that have confirmed on this right now, I think until next week.
Okay.
But wow, you'd think we're a late night television show
So you'll be able to mention it
next week.
while you're in Miami.
Correct.
All right, fair enough.
Got to keep the ball rolling, cross promote. So that's all going on.
Con spoiler
as well.
season.
But for tonight's show, we have Jennette McCurdy. She was supposed to be on last week's show, but we had to bump her because we were all filled with delicious foods.
Yes.
So it just didn't work out the way. So we're gonna have Jeanette's interview tonight. She's on a show called Between, which is on Netflix, but it airs on for our Canadian listeners, the City TV network. So it airs on a Thursday night on Canadian television on City TV, and then about 11:30 that night it shows up on Netflix.
Oh, all right.
So you can't binge watch it, but you get the episodes through Netflix in the United States and wherever else that their deals are if you don't get that Canadian television channel. So
Very cool.
It's pretty cool. You should check it out. Also on the program tonight, Alexa Palladino. She's on the show Halt and Catch Fire on AMC. It's sort of like Silicon Valley, but it takes place in Texas,
Right.
where they had their technology boom for a while with IBM, Texas Instruments, obviously, etc.
Yeah.
Et cetera.
And then she also has a movie called The Midnight Swim, which we'll talk about a little bit later, too. The Neca Toy guys will be here for their previews of San Diego Comic-Con. We've got some updates from E3.
Yep.
And I think in about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to talk to author Blake Harris about his book, Console Wars.
Yeah, man.
Which, don't let it fool you here like, oh, I'm not going to read this thing just because it's got the Nintendo and Sega controllers on the book. It's a thick book, but it's actually really good. It was just picked up the option for the movie on it. And the forward is by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg.
And the forward is exactly what you would expect out of
written
those
on
two.
hemp.
Yeah, more than likely, yes. So,
okay.
But it's a great book. It really is an interesting read. I can't wait to talk to him when he gets here.
Busy show, plus stuff to give away, which we mentioned before. Where do we want to start here? There's a lot of stuff that we should, at least, smaller things that we should mention. Should we go into food? Should we go into movies?
I don't know. Why don't we hit on food?
Okay.
Because let's get it out of the way early in the show, so we don't have to dwell on it all night long.
Well, before we get to the ones that you have, I do want to make a mention. I don't know what the fuck Pizza Hut is doing, because did you see the hot dog pizza that they have out?
I've seen that hot dog pizza.
It looks disgusting.
It's a bunch of pretzel wrapped pigs in a blanket making the circumference of the pizza.
That's disgusting.
So you get to rip off, it's almost like a whole handful of hot dog and pretzel bread that you rip off the pizza, eat that, dip that in mustard. Then with the other hand, you're taking a slice of the pizza and dipping that in other sauces.
And we wonder why we have an obesity problem.
Gross.
Yeah.
When are we going to try it, guys?
It's like someone took like two hors d'oeuvres and threw it in the machine from The Fly, and they're like, hey, here we go. This is what we got now.
It really looks completely unappealing to me. I'll try almost anything, but just looking at the picture, I was like, I don't think I can brave that one. I might have to tap out.
It didn't look good. As Jon Stewart said on the Daily Show this week, he said it looks like a pizza rimmed with uncircumcised penises, and I think that's an apt description of it. It looks pretty gross.
I would rather eat the red burger before I would eat
Well, before we get to the red burger, also with Pizza Hut, they're changing the boxes around. So now the box is a makeshift movie projector.
Yeah, how does this work?
I saw about that.
So on one side of the box there has some kind of like plastic crystal thing.
Right.
And supposedly you slide your phone into this little portion of the pizza box, and it kind of projects whatever's on your phone onto the wall.
All right.
So if you're going to watch, if you have a movie or a YouTube video, whatever, you slide it into the box while you eat, position the box against a blank wall, and, dim the lights, and now it's a movie projector.
So conceptually, this sounds cool until the pizza slides in the box.
Exactly.
And you end up with cheese and grease all over the screen.
All over your phone, yeah.
Yeah, it's like something's got to give with that.
Like someone calls you mid-movie and just knock the whole pizza and phone off the table.
Like every time you open the box to get a new slice, is that going to screw up? Like too much light comes in? I don't know.
It seems like a really bad idea.
Well, that's what they're doing. Earlier this year, they were also announcing these new gourmet style pizzas, where you can just, you can get your meat lovers, veggie lovers, and cheese lovers, and all that stuff. The cheese in the crust, which is a staple of Pizza. But then they were starting to put out these, fancier, upscale, gourmet style pizzas that were just weird combinations to make it seem elegant.
Okay.
Just so you had more diversity.
Gouda. They always add Gouda to make things sound elegant.
There's a steak Caesar pizza, I think, and something with too much bacon on it, probably. I don't have the menu.
Is it Hawaiian? I can go for Hawaiian pie.
It's called the too much bacon pie.
Right. Well, that's what they've been doing. But let's see now with the red burger. Which looks disgusting. And it reminds me of an Aqua Teen Hunger Force episode where he had this evil sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
When he took a bite of it, it would take him to this alternate dimension and things were trying to kill him. But as long as he didn't finish the sandwich, then the devil didn't get his soul or something like that. That's what this thing looks like.
Well, this is Burger King's follow-up to last year's I think it was last year. It was 2 years ago.
The Vader burger or whatever?
Yeah, it was the black burger that was made with the squid ink. The bun was black, and obviously the patty is dark color. So this one is their samurai burger, and they offer two options now.
Ooh,
samurai chicken and samurai beef. Samurai beef it's a Whopper patty, but the bun is like blood red. It's colored with a tomato powder. So I guess it's gonna taste like a tomato wrap. I don't know how that.
They
would
probably
affect
just
the flavor.
extract the pigments to just make a color like you do with beets. You could do that with beets without making it taste sweet.
And it also has an angry sauce, a spicy miso condiment with Sichuan fermented bean paste, and topped with signature
Also known as cheese.
It
says AKA cheese.
Yes, but the cheese also ends with question mark.
Yeah. Also known as cheese.
I think the burger is the
That's
Aki
exactly
burger.
how the boardroom meeting went. When the chemists and the scientists are up there and putting this together, and they're like, cheese? Print.
I just feel like when they release the red burger, we're going to have to brace ourselves for all the period jokes on Twitter.
Oh my God. Yeah, seriously.
This would be gross.
Well, so this isn't coming to the U.S. Like the black burger didn't come here either. It was exclusive to Japan.
It's all in
so
Japan, yeah.
we'll only
They can
get to
keep it.
admire people eating it online. Unless, of course, one of us is traveling to Japan. I'm not traveling.
The
to
don't
red
know.
burger made by Matisse from the Favas period. No art lovers here? Nothing? Oh, wow. All right, too upscale. And what's the other one here that we just saw?
Well, this is Denny's Slamtastic Fantastic Four themed menu that they had coming out. Gittles actually posted this on Twitter, and it looked so silly that we thought we should mention it. The new Human Torch skillet, the new Think Burger, the Invisible Woman Slam.
I don't
which
even know
really
what that
sounds
is.
Dirty.
It sounds like you're
Yeah.
hitting the
Right?
invisible woman with your car.
Or if it's not good, you slam it in her face and say, take it back and do it again.
And then there's
Look,
the
I hope
fantastic.
that was her.
Yeah, true. And then a 4-cheese omelet. But there's no Mr. Fantastic anything.
Well, I'll just say this. To quote the very famous television show, You Can't Do That on Television, guess what's in the burgers?
Well, especially the Human Torch skillet.
Why are they so stretchy?
He's in the back. It's just all raw food. He just flames on right onto the plate and it's done.
The common thread for both of these stories for me is that I'm not going to Japan and I'll never eat at Denny's, so I don't have to worry about any of this food other than to look at pictures of it online.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Oh, damn. Whoever, the person who was calling about Spencer's, call back. I was just going to go to you. And I just realized they're gone.
Maybe that was just some guy named Spencer.
No, he said Spencer's wasn't always a dildo store, so I wanted to see what the early makings of a Spencer's
Yeah,
gifts.
it used to be it used to be the inconspicuous dildo store where you didn't know that they were dildos and be like,
There's
oh yeah,
like
this
maybe
is the
one
vibrating
in the
candlestick.
back.
It was
Yeah.
always in the
Yeah.
very back where, maybe some, edible panties and some
Right,
kind of see-through
exactly.
shirt.
Yeah, like gag
but they were
gifts.
all hidden
The
behind
gag.
the black light beads and the glow-in-the-dark stars and stuff. So you're like, oh, you still didn't look for it. But now it's right near right there in the center where the counter is.
It used to be like T-shirts and like novelty gifts and gag gifts and
Yeah.
like party shit, like goofy hats and all that.
Turd in a box.
Yeah, like all that silly
The
shit. that
guy
no
where
one
you
really
squeeze
wanted.
the thing and he mooned you.
Yeah,
right,
the eyeballs
Seymour
pop out.
Buns.
Yeah.
Seymour Buns. There you go.
the
then
naked statue that says the human bean, and it's a bean with a
Yeah.
human face on it.
The kid peeing into the shot cup like fountain thing.
And of course, your authentic Oscar awards.
Oh yeah.
They authentic. Yes,
Point is, we all
legit.
shopped there a lot.
We
Yeah,
did.
we know-
if you
we
went
know
to
their
the mall-
product
As a
line.
kid, you didn't want to hang
Yes.
around with your parents,
That's
so
right.
you always went to Spencer's because, especially if you're a little kid, that was one of the first areas where you thought you were seeing some kind of porn.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it was very far. Like you'd see the board game, for lovers or something like that.
the fuzzy dice or whatever. Yeah.
Right. And
The
it
fuzzy handcuffs.
And it was always like, a guy with a robe barely closed and he's leaning, like on a rug and the woman sitting there with a glass of wine by a fireplace and it's whatever the couple's game is.
You have a lot of details about
Yeah,
this.
Because I looked at that
Basement is
game.
what I'm guessing.
And then the back had nothing. It was just, it said probably Milton Bradley and
Yeah.
black and white text. And you're trying to
It says
rip the
Milton-
cellophane
Milton
open. And
Berle.
like, come on, show me a card or something.
Oh, terrible.
Aw.
Poor Spencer's.
Yeah.
Because everybody goes to Hot Topic now.
Well, it happens.
It's the new Spencer. It's the new edgier Spencer's.
Well, the thing with Hot Topic, too, is when it was really becoming its own, a lot of people saying, oh, it's just where, young kids go to try to be emo and things like that. But now you see a very diverse clientele when you go into Hot Topics because you see the kids with spikes in their face and buying, the dog collars and the rock shirts and some of the other weird shit that, those hoops for their ears. Yeah. But then you see, guys our age or older looking at the Funko section. Whoa, but it goes from the floor to the ceiling now. They have a quarter of the store is just Funko Pop.
I think what
That's
happened to Hot
crazy.
Topic was, and this is something we kind of talk about on the show often, is that sort of weird subculture that we all kind of sort of live our lives in became mainstream. And so when that happened, it was really easy for Hot Topic to adapt and bring in the regular crowd. I mean, I used to go to Hot Topic for t-shirts and because you couldn't get like a Descendants T-shirt anywhere else in the mall.
Like an Ivy T-shirt.
Yeah, you had to go, but you just always felt. I don't want to say you felt self-conscious going in. Maybe some did, but people would always give you shit that you went to Hot Topic.
Yeah, call it Hot Trend or whatever.
Especially now.
It's like I wanted the Rancid shirt.
That's right.
the only place that had it.
But yeah, now they sell like all Doctor Who stuff. I remember for a while too, they were selling like a lot of NECA toys, for example, and Mezco stuff, and like you couldn't get it anywhere else in the mall unless the mall had a Suncoast, and you can get it there. So it kind of started becoming like this everything pop culture store. And I guess it lived up to the name Hot Topic a little bit better when it did that. But I still go.
I have nothing but nice things to say about Hot Topics because I just went for the Doctor Who exclusives, and I think it was also buy one get one 50% off.
Yeah.
So what should have cost me $120 it cost me about $60.
There you go.
And I walked out, I think, with 6 or 8 figures.
Yeah, I go all the time to the one by where I work, and I've
including the big TARDIS.
I got the big TARDIS,
and I'm still looking to get the Deadpool in the chimichanga truck.
Wait for Comic-Con.
I saw a couple of things.
That's the Funko exclusive this year for all the cons.
Let's go to Justin in New Jersey. Justin, how are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. What's up?
So I got a double whammy for you. Brookstone has actually got into the dildo selling business lately as well.
Whoa!
What?
I was in there the other day, and they've always had like the big clunky shoulder massager,
right?
But I saw these smaller things there, and I thought, Jesus Christ, is that a fucking dildo? And surely enough, I walk over there, and on the side of the thing, it's clearly labeled pleasure device. So, yeah.
Wow, times have changed because it used to be labeled body massager.
Body massager.
It always looked like a big beige torpedo that you were hoping you didn't find in your mom's room.
Well, I'm sure it's all like Bluetooth controlled and like crazy, like high tech.
You're just sitting there, you're tweeting, and you insert it, and you're just using your phone to adjust it. Way to go, Brookstone. Way to come into the 21st century.
Literally come into the 21st century.
It's not like the big creepy, clunky beige things. It's the really slim, sexy, made out of silicone, all of that, fancy high tech shit, and clearly labeled pleasure device. So yeah.
What are the things that the porn stars squat over? that vibrates?
A glass table?
No.
Sybian.
I know how Sybian. Thank you. Those are now. They're not even an option. They're now built into the lazy boy chairs. So you just sit down and you're not adjusting your back tension and the lumbar support. You're going to 9 and seeing how long she can last on that chair.
Jesus, Spine Tingler 2000.
All the things you see in the mall nowadays.
Good times.
Justin, I do want to thank you for calling, and I'm going to have you be the first one to go into the Greg Opie Hughes prize vault, and you could win something that used to be his. Pick a number between 1 and 81.
73.
73. And you have won Traffic on DVD, unopened.
Ooh.
Wow, you've made my dreams come true, Eric.
I'm sure I did. And if you want, I can ruin it by signing it for you.
Yes, please. Ruin it.
Okay, I'm going to put you on hold here. That's Justin on line 3, and he gets that. Let's go to John in Georgia. John, what about Hot Topic?
Hot Topic, y'all were saying just a second ago, how it is. It's more poppy and mainstream, but it used to be an actual, dark death metal type of store. More so than it is now. It was awesome. That was what was great about Hot Topic. You can go in there, and if you were, huge into the scene, when we were in high school in the 90s, goth was just completely different from what it is now.
Yeah, it was goth and punk.
About Hot Topic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Yeah.
But you could still go there and get I was gonna say you still go there and get your Cannibal Corpse T-shirts and Slayer and all that.
Yeah, but
stuff
right now the music is AFI and Newfound Glory.
Not
as
anymore,
opposed to no.
I don't think so.
I heard Less Than Jake the other day. I was excited to hear it, but I was like, it shouldn't be playing in Hot Topic.
Yeah, exactly. You shouldn't walk in the Hot Topic, and I never.
You shouldn't feel good about yourself.
You can't hear that. Exactly. You're supposed to go in there and feel like shit. Going to Hot Topic.
Like you just ate one of those Pizza Hut pizzas.
Feel awesome by what you're buying.
Yeah, no pleasure devices there.
You're constantly looking at that big glass window in the front of the store. Nobody saw me come in here, right?
Yeah.
John, I'm going to let you go into the Greg Opie Hughes prize closet here and pick a number between 1 and 81 here.
7.
7. You won Well, you won a copy of Arrested Development Season 1 on DVD, unopened.
Ooh, nice.
So that's going to go to you, John. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you, man.
All right, put you on hold. John on line 4 there. This is the guy I think that wanted to talk about Spencer's. Jerome, did you call earlier?
Yes, I did.
All right, this is the guy. Jerome, what about Spencer's?
Spencer's is more than just dildos, man. They got T-shirts, they got gag gifts, they got the smelly fart stuff, and all the stuff they normally would have.
Which Spencer's do you manage, sir?
I don't manage Spencer's at all. I mean, I go in there I get all my brother-in-law's T-shirts there, all the ones with sayings and stuff on them, like "Have a nice day" with the smiley face and stuff.
Okay. I bet you if we go to Paramus to the Garden State Mall, this is the guy.
This is
Look, we got Firefly hats in.
Yeah. Ooh, I'll buy a Jane hat.
No, not really. Not really. I just get all my stuff there. All the gag gifts for birthdays and stuff.
Let's go with
for
that.
everybody.
That's it. Dildos for everybody. You're right.
And the flip books of Karma Sutra. That's an impulse buy by the Register.
Happy birthday. Go fuck yourself.
Jerome, I'm going to let you win a prize here. Pick a number from 1 to 81.
Let's go with 10.
Let's see. We're at 10, and that is a copy of, I'm going to assume, Season 1 of Bored to Death on DVD, unopened.
Cool.
That's going to go to you. Thank you for calling, my friend.
Yes, thank you.
Put you on hold. He's on line 6 there. If we can grab him. Take a couple more calls, and I see Blake's out in the hallway there.
Yeah.
We'll take a break, and then we'll get to him. He's going to be in talking about his book, Console Wars, which we're very excited about. Bruce in Louisiana. Bruce, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, Eric. Here's the problem. I wasn't really asking your screener where to get the Funko Pop. But what I'm asking is, apparently they're kind of like Beanie Babies. They do a run, and if you miss the run, then you got to get ass raped paying $70 to get the one you missed, right?
Yes.
Pretty much.
So where is a place that's reputable online or something that I can find ones I missed and not have to pay some dickhead $90 for a Sonic the Hedgehog because that's the one my daughter wants and I'm an asshole that doesn't know anything about this.
Well, I'll tell you this. The days of meeting a guy in a parking lot behind a Stearns or something like that is over.
Is over, yeah. So the biggest problem you're going to have is that there is no reputable online retailer to get old stuff and not get clobbered over the head, because any online retailer that has that old stuff is charging the same kind of markups. You might get lucky and not pay quite as much as you would pay on eBay, but you're going to get clobbered no matter where you go. Your best bet actually is stumbling upon it in person at like a convention or a flea market or something like that. Sometimes you'll get lucky, but
I don't think he's the type to go to a convention.
No.
But you are right about a flea market or some garage sales and things like that. People may have them, but unfortunately, you're going to have to try eBay.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of places you could go online to get the new stuff as it's coming out or before it comes out, so that you don't miss it. But if you've missed it, unfortunately, I think you're shit out of luck if you're not going to eBay. You could try Amazon. Sometimes Amazon is a little bit cheaper than eBay, and they have older stuff. Maybe give
and
that
also,
a look.
there's only certain lines that they make a limited run on, because right now you're going to see the Game of Thrones stuff is everywhere. They made way too much of it. That's there. I'm trying to think what else here. The Marvel stuff, Star Wars stuff, you'll see that everywhere. But like Big Trouble, somebody asked me about Big Trouble in Little China. Sure. They put that line out. That one's hard to find because it's not going to be widely purchased.
Right.
But when you find a place and you're a fan of that particular franchise, buy all of them and be done with it, because give it a few more months, you're not going to find them anymore.
Sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Eric.
You know what we'll try to do? I don't know if I have any Funkos in the back. I might, but I'm not going to risk it. Instead, I'm going to send you the Greg Opie Hughes prize closet. Is that good?
Oh, I didn't need a prize. I just needed your expertise and advice.
Well, no, I want to give you something, because that you're being a good dad here, trying to find that piece for your kid and going through all means here. So pick a number between 1 and 81, and we'll send you that prize. And if I find a Funko thing in the back, I'll attach that with it. All right?
Okay. Well, I want to know what was Opie's #1 DVD.
Number 1 is 21 grams DVD format, unopened.
Hey, cool. Hey, check this out. Can you sign it, but only on the plastic?
The what?
With you.
He wanted you to sign it, but only on the plastic. And then he said he's fucking with you so that he could tear the plastic off and throw it in the garbage, along with your dirty signature.
I don't know how you got all that when his phone cut out, but that's really hurtful. That's what I heard.
I was just fucking around. I'm sorry, Eric.
I'm more amazed that it's Matt Heard.
Yes, I know. We're all just looking around like his phone's dropping out. I think Matt is just piecing stuff in his head and just got lucky with that one. Bruce.
No. I'm E-Rock Army nigger #1 caller.
I don't think anybody around here knows what that means, so maybe I'll play that into break so everybody knows.
I'm not allowed to do that?
No, you can.
Oh,
It's
no,
fine.
you can do that.
Bruce, I'm going to put you on hold here.
I know what it means.
Bruce on line 1 gets prize #1. We're going to have to get ready to take a break there.
Yes, indeed.
Is Lewis back there?
Lewis is back there.
Okay, I didn't see him there. Lewis, I'm going to play something here, and then as soon as it's done, then you're going to take over and play the sweeper there. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to author Blake Harris about his book, Console Wars, which is definitely a great read, and it talks about the battle between Nintendo and Sega in the 80s into the 90s, and some stuff that I wasn't even aware of. You know, and I had both systems, and I think most people had either Genesis or Nintendo at one point in their lives. Yeah, so interesting stuff. We're going to talk to him in a little bit, but for Bruce, he said he's the E-Rock Army guy #1 there. We'll play this, and we'll be right back. And we're back on It's Erik Nagel. 866-969-1969 is the phone number, and I'd like to welcome our guest right now, the author of Console Wars, Mr. Blake Harris.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course, I don't have the right mic there. Maybe that's you. That should be it.
Eric,
there you are, Blake. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing good. This book here is quite the buzz. Around here, I mean, not only just for the forward with Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, which is a good get, but it's option now, right?
It is. We're doing 2 movies. We're doing.
Could you just get a little closer to that mic?
Sorry about that. We're doing a documentary and a feature film, which is a testament to how good Seth is at getting things done, and also just what an important story it was. I mean, I think I did a good job writing it, but it really is just an incredible tale, and one that totally altered and influenced my childhood, since I think battle lines were very obviously drawn between Sega and Nintendo, and friendships and alliances were built on that.
Why don't you explain to everybody what the book actually is here? What is it focusing on?
Sure. So the book is called Console Wars, Sega and Nintendo and the Battle That Defined a Generation, and it's about the corporate rivalry between Sega and Nintendo back in the late 80s and the early 90s, which, if you remember growing up then, or if you have read about it in the lores of video game history, it was a pretty wild time. There was a time in 1989 where Nintendo was so dominant that they literally took out ads to say that Nintendo does not mean video games, that it's not a synonym in the way that my mom calls everything a Nintendo.
Like Atari used to have. Everybody would say Atari.
For trademark purposes, they took this out, but they were basically becoming like the way Jacuzzi is for hot tubs or Kleenex for tissues. And so it was, at the time, kind of staggering that others would enter the market and try to compete with Nintendo. And 2 companies did. One of them was NEC with the TurboGrafx, and that didn't really work out too well. And then the other was Sega with the 16-bit Genesis, and that actually didn't work out very well at first either. But then 2 characters joined the company. One of them an executive named Tom Kalinske, and the other a hedgehog named Sonic. And they really changed the fates of Sega. And
I don't think he existed.
He walked the
Was he in the meetings?
Yeah. Yeah, but it was a really interesting time. And, you know, in the end, sort of looking back on this 5-year period that the book is about, and sort of looking at the bigger picture and sort of the, like, why should I care? This thing happened 20 years ago. It's just interesting to see how the video game industry has evolved and how it was because of this battle between Sega and Nintendo. Like, I remember back in, it's probably 1990 or so, I would ask my dad if he wanted to play video games on the NES with me and my brother, and he would look at us, and it was kind of like the boy equivalent of, like, having a tea party, where he would be like, oh, it's kind of nice, but video games were for kids.
Right.
And Sega changed that. Part of that because it was a marketing strategy, because Nintendo already had all the kids locked up, but part of it too because they wanted it to be a mainstream entertainment, like film and music, and it has become that. It has actually eclipsed both of those industries.
During that period, there was Nintendo, then Sega came around. You mentioned TurboGrafx 16. What was you said there was a 4th console that I think I missed. What did you say the 4th one was?
Well, eventually there was the Atari Jaguar.
All right.
I remember the Jaguar. That weird controller.
But I was going to ask, wasn't there, didn't Neo
Geo
have their system out at the same time?
Yeah.
I knew one person whose brother had it, and it had the thing with the memory card where you could play the game on the system at home, but you could also take it to the arcade and play the game there, which is stupid because why would you save your game and then pay money to play in the arcade just because you're in the arcade? But they had one of my favorite games before it came to Nintendo was Baseball Stars. And they had it, and then eventually they just couldn't sell enough of those units at $500-something a pop in the late 80s. They went, I guess, belly up, and then Nintendo got some of the licenses and things like that. But,
yeah, well, it was just.
And they were way ahead of where Genesis graphics were at that time, too.
Absolutely. Like, at the end of the day, the main lesson I took away from writing and researching this book was that it's not necessarily the best games or the best graphics or whatever. A huge part of it is the marketing, and that's why the behind-the-scenes part of this is so interesting, because, you know, I guess as a kid and maybe even as an adult, we assume that like the best games, the best products are going to be in the stores.
Right.
That there's some meritocracy to it. But it's relationships. It's also, you know, at the time, Nintendo literally accounted for 25% of Walmart's sales. So Walmart was kind of beholden to them to do whatever they wanted. And Nintendo, which would later go through antitrust accusations and monopoly allegations from the government, you know, they would do a wink, wink, you know, if you carry our competitors' products, whether it's Neo Geo or Sega, then, you know, maybe
the
your
truck
next
would get lost, right?
Yeah, the truck would get lost. And
a lot of screaming kids on Christmas.
Exactly. And so one of my favorite stories that really pulled me in and showed me what I think why it would make a good film, and I think the kind of things that Seth was drawn to, was with that Walmart example. You know, Sega believed that they had a better system. There's going to be people who will, argue to the death over which was better between Super Nintendo and Sega. But they at least had a good system, and they had a good game with Sonic. And they went down to Bentonville, Arkansas, where the Walmart headquarters is, and they showed off their product, and they said, you know, see, this is better than Super Mario World, or this is at least very good. And the guy basically said, yeah, but we're not going to carry your product. Like, why would we? That's suicide. And so the guys at Sega left the headquarters. They saw that across the street there was a for rent sign at this mall. They bought the space and they turned it into a Sega Genesis store where people in the area were invited to come in and play video games for free. They weren't even selling anything. They bought every billboard in town. They bought the seat cushions at the football games, and they turned Bentonville into Segaville. And then they had hundreds of people living there walking into the flagship Walmart saying, hey, where can I get a Genesis? And they're saying, sorry, we don't sell that. And eventually they called up the guys at Sega and said, you know, we give up, we throw the white flag. And Sega used a lot of scrappy guerrilla marketing tactics like that to get in the game. And
who knew Nintendo was such dicks about, I mean, I understand, you know, holding on to your market share and everything like that, but to constantly just, I guess not on paper, just saying, like you were saying, that the truck won't show up, or you're only going to, you know what, for Christmas, you're only going to get the Nintendo system with the track and field mat in it, which the kids don't want.
You're not Robbie the Robot or whatever it was.
Well, that was the first year. That was long gone. But you're going to get that one. You're not going to get the one with the split Mario duck hunt in there with the orange gun.
No, I was totally oblivious to this as a kid. Plus, you have the fact that their mascot is their smiling, you know, cherubic Mario. And then they also had, if you guys remember, the game master Howard Phillips, who was in the Nintendo Powers. He was this
Howard and Nestor.
Exactly.
Right,
freckle-faced redhead kid, you know, doesn't really strike up this idea of a dictatorial company or a Japanese company, which at the time, you know, America was going through some trade relations, and that wasn't a very popular thing to be. So they were
buying us out. Let's just be honest with it. Most of New York was being bought by Japan during the 80s.
They were. And you know, one of the things that Japan bought during that time was Sony bought they bought CBS Records, and they also were really getting into the game aspect of things. And there was a time in 1991 where they were supposed to launch the Nintendo PlayStation, which was like a CD attachment for the Super Nintendo, and it would have been this alliance between these two great, powerful Japanese companies. And Sony agreed to the deal and publicly announced it. And then the next day at the Consumer Electronics Show, Nintendo announced that they were not doing this with Sony and publicly humiliated them. So say what you will about them during that era, whether they were really bad guys or not, but they had terrible bedside manner, and they were very happy to show off their leverage at the time.
That's interesting. I didn't know about the Nintendo PlayStation combo thing there. Was that why in the early to mid 90s Sony had a CD based video game system? Because one of the titles, they had a Zelda title on the CD.
It's the CDI.
Like the worst game ever.
Yes.
Right. Is that why that existed? Because the Nintendo deal fell through?
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth. Even after that, Sony said, we're never going to work with you, then please work with us. And there was a lot of back and forth. And, it's a common to ask, who won the console wars? Obviously, I wrote this book on it. I asked myself, and I think the number one winner was us, the kids.
Don't give it away. It's a spoiler. I got to go buy the book.
But, I think the real winner is Sony, who, after getting snubbed by Nintendo, I won't spoil, but there's a story with Sega where they almost jump into bed together, and in the end, Sony's kind of like, well, these guys are both jerks. Let's go our own way, and that's worked out very well for them.
Well, that's not a spoiler, because most people know that Nintendo took up all the Sega stuff just to keep some of the franchises that actually made money for Sega alive, like Sonic, to incorporate it with Mario and just make even more money with that. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say something I found kind of interesting. I started reading it. I got through the first 8 chapters. So
that's impressive. It is not a short book. So
no, and I'm loving it so far. It's awesome. But it's funny because I can look at it now a little bit differently as an adult, and as I'm reading some of the stuff that Nintendo did, and I kind of feel like all of these other companies have evolved really well around Nintendo. But it seems like Nintendo is sort of stagnant in their ways. Clearly, they're still successful, right? But they're not as successful as they were, obviously. And I think it's probably because they're the ones that have grown the least since that time period.
You're totally spot on. That's a great realization. I mean,
way to go, Matt.
Yeah. Gold star. No, if you think about it, the big turning point in this battle, another mild spoiler alert, even though this happened 20 years ago, was Mortal Kombat. This was back in the arcades,
right.
This was the game. Yeah. It was coming to both systems at the same time on the same day.
And the second that it showed discussion about that game showed up on the floor of Congress about banning it, you knew it's like everybody wanted this game now.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. And the Sega version had the blood code, so you can have the gore, the fatalities. The Nintendo version had green sweat.
Yeah.
Because it was censored. And that kind of speaks to what you're saying about Nintendo. As I said, the industry matured from childish playthings into mainstream entertainment, and Nintendo still makes games that the graphics are much better, but they can stand side by side with the games that they were making back in the early 90s.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy that they haven't seen past that. I mean, it's right in there at this point, especially, right? I mean, if you look at E3, right, which just happened, right? I mean, Nintendo probably was the weakest show, I think, and that's probably been the last couple of times, I would think, right? So you would think at some point in time something would snap in their brain and they'd be like, holy shit, we need to get back to this crude market style innovation and let go of some of these principles that we've held so dear because they're not working for us anymore. But nope, they are steadfast.
They are extremely stubborn, and the one saving grace is that their games are still great.
Sure.
A lot of in the end, a lot of this battle between Sega and Nintendo was really between a battle and different philosophies between freedom and control. And Sega, with the freedom, said, we'll put out sexual content, adult themes, all this stuff. We don't care. We'll have hundreds of games in our library. But Nintendo censored the games. They limited the number of games because they thought, if you're going to spend $50, it needs to be up to Nintendo standards. And that still exists, at least. I've never bought a Nintendo game and
That's not a bad thing. They're just not going to put out crap for the most part if they can help it. They want it to have a full quality game that you're going to spend all that money on.
Yeah. And then the one other thing I had no idea about going in, and as a kid it wouldn't even have occurred to me, was there was this other generation of video games with Atari and ColecoVision and Intellivision, and there was this video game crash in 1983, and people thought that the video game industry was dead. And in hindsight, that might seem kind of silly. We know how successful.
If you followed the documentary, it was because of Atari's E.T. that they buried it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really was. The industry did seem like it was dead because because the computer revolution was happening and people would just play games on computers. But Nintendo resurrected the industry. That was a big risk, and they were sort of the David and their own David and Goliath struggle throughout the mid '80s, and so. Their basis for why they were the way they were, whether or not you agree that they should have been that way, was that they didn't want to see another market crash. So that's why they were so stringently controlling things, because they didn't want there to be this oversaturation and overabundance of products. So believe them or not, but at least I like that they had a reason behind it, that they didn't just wake up in the morning trying to ruin people's lives.
Did you have both systems growing up?
I mean, how could you? There were some kids that did, but like...
And I hated those kids.
Yeah.
But I was just seeing if you were one of those kids.
Yes. Well, I hope I passed your test. No.
Blake, this interview's over. But the reason why I'm asking is if you had both of those systems, besides being lucky enough or having either parents that really loved you or parents that were trying to buy your love because they're not together anymore, but the Nintendo and the Sega thing, I don't think really heated up until it was the 16-bit generation on it, because Nintendo Entertainment System, the 8-bit system, everybody had it, or everybody wanted it, or everybody went to somebody's house to play it. And then Sega had the Master System, which looked like your parents bought the knockoff brand at Sears and brought it home.
Yeah. But it had Altered Beast.
It's
like my favorite game.
Altered Beast is great.
And Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah,
that you couldn't really get past the first level.
And Choplifter.
And there was another game that I forgot what it was. You had a jetpack, but
Alex Kidd?
No, not Alex Kidd.
Alex
There was
Kidd was
another
a great game.
Afterburner.
That might be. No. Because they had to pull it because kids were getting seizures.
Jesus.
It was a game where he was running, but the floor became
I know
all
the one you're talking
psychedelic.
about. Yeah, it was
and
like,
you would see the horizon, but the horizon would never move. But the ground would change different
it was like
colors.
that Tempest
and kids
game, but different.
Yeah, and kids started getting really fucked up, and that's where the whole joke is about Japanese video games and Japanese animation, where kids will get seizures because they're flashing stuff.
Why don't think that's a joke,
game.
though? I think that happened during Pokemon. Like, I think that legit happened.
Yes, that did happen during Pokemon as well.
But that was later on. I'm talking OG seizure stuff, you know? But,
the original seizures.
The original seizure.
But then...
Seizure salad.
Was it Super Nintendo that came out first, or the Genesis that came out first?
The Genesis came out because it was basically like, Nintendo... That was when they had over 95% of the market. The Master System was nothing. There were some other systems around that time. And 1 in 3 households had the NES.
Right.
And then Sega thought, like, all right, well, we're definitely not going to beat them. So let's change the location of this battle from 8 bits to 16 bits. And that made it better, but kind of as we were talking about, just having better graphics didn't necessarily make people buy it.
Right.
So, but they were the first to do this. And then Nintendo was kind of slow in coming out with the 16-bit system because they thought, we've got such a...
We got we got it. There was no threat. No, we didn't need to rush things.
How long was it between Genesis and then I guess it was Super Famicom at the time, right before, because it didn't come to the US until almost a year after that. So
yeah, so the original NES came out in the fall of 1985. That was when they had their test launch in New York, and then it came out nationwide in 1986. The Genesis came out in the fall of 1989, but it didn't really catch on until Sonic came out in the summer of 1991, which was strategically meant to come out a couple months before Super Nintendo came out. So that was like Sega's answer to when everyone thought Super Nintendo was going to blow people out of the water.
What was the game? What was the first system that you had first? Before I ask the second part,
I had the 8-bit Nintendo Entertainment System.
What was the game that you saw on Genesis that sold you? Like that because of that game, now I want the Genesis.
It was definitely Sonic. It was just so fast. It was unlike anything else in video games, and it probably wasn't even better. The problem with Sonic for me, because I'm not and wasn't a great gamer, is like you just go to the right, and then all of a sudden, bing, 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 Sonic is at the end, and I'm like, oh, did I do that? Okay.
Did anybody else here have? You had Nintendo growing up?
I had original NES, and then I had Sega Genesis after that.
All right, Gittles, and what did you have, Matt?
I had NES. I skipped Genesis because a couple of my friends had it, and then I went to Super Nintendo.
Okay, Lisa, not being sexist, but I don't think you had Nintendo. You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's Lisa. Of course she had it.
Why would you?
Because by now.
You know why? Because most girls didn't give a shit about Nintendo Entertainment System in the 80s. Their brothers had it. They maybe played a game or two.
Fat girl.
But they were never.
So there, I said it.
She was too young to shop at Spencer's.
Okay.
Do you remember how excited I got over the barbecue?
So what were the games for you guys then when you had Nintendo and then saw Genesis? What was the game that sold you on it?
On Genesis? I'll be honest with you. Outside of Sonic, I know I played a
Please don't tell me Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
No, I don't actively remember any other Genesis games because I think I probably played Sonic the most, so that's the one that really stuck with me. I played most of the time I was playing NES because that's what I had at home, you know?
Well, I think a lot of it was, I'm 32, so I was probably 10 or so back then. I can't do the math, but, I wasn't buying the system. My parents were. I'm sure all of your parents were. They were the gatekeepers to the homes. And I think a lot of parents felt the way mine did, where I remember my brother and I, before Christmas, we kind of like got together our childhood version of a PowerPoint presentation, and we're like, here's why we should get a Super Nintendo. And my dad, I distinctly remember him saying, no. Because the Nintendo's just going to come up with a super duper Nintendo, then a super super duper Nintendo. And what they really objected to was that it wasn't backwardly compatible. So they felt like all this money they had spent, Nintendo just didn't care about them. And they're like, we're going to get you a Genesis. So it wasn't.
And for those who don't know, we'll just say for Nintendo, that box for the Nintendo was $150 just for and they were nice enough at the time. It came with Mario Brothers
and 2 controllers.
No,
one controller.
It came with one controller.
The one I had, it came with 2 controllers and the gun.
As it evolved, then it came with maybe with 2 controllers, but then it came with Duck Hunt Mario combo with the gun.
That's the one I had.
And then eventually there were no games. You're buying the system for the full price, but it didn't have the game in it anymore.
Yeah, you had to go to Toys R Us and get like that special Toys R Us combo that came with the game or something.
You get the little ticket from Toys R Us that you bring to the bag.
Oh my God,
mentioned that on the show.
It
felt like a shady deal too.
It always felt shady.
Yeah. We mentioned this in the past on this show that I really had some weird fondness for going to Toys R Us because you'd go down the aisle. It was just flip cards.
That's it.
Like
you just pick them out.
The box for the game was flattened behind a piece of plastic, so you had to flip it up and down to see the front and the back of the game. Then there was a little white slip that you'd have to take to the cashier to pay for the game. Then you'd have to go over to what they called the cage, and you hand them the receipt with the thing, and then you would wait there while the dumbass behind this it looked like Louis De Palma's cage in Taxi, chain link fence and everything. Like you're really going to take all this stuff, and then he'd go wander off into the shelves and find your system, and then they had the keys where they open up the gate and hand it to you like it was a big security risk.
But
that was the coolest part about getting the thing, other than opening it up and then smelling that new plastic smell.
I remember I so badly wanted to be the guy in the cage when I grew up. I was like, with all the games.
I'd take everything. I don't need this job.
But Toys R Us was better than like the other ones because they had that little flip system. Like you went to KB Toys and like everything was just behind the register. You'd be like, "Can I see that game?" And then they have to like hand it to you and you flip it over and look at it and like hand it back.
Toys R Us in the 80s was dark and dingy. Like it was black and yellow themed.
Yeah.
Maybe if you got there lucky enough on a Saturday, there was a character wait at the door.
The place was run by a giraffe.
Right. The Channel 11, they would say, come down to Toys R Us on Saturday from 12 to 2 and you could meet Spider-Man. It's a horrible looking Spider-Man.
Oh.
The guy maybe have an erection in his pants. And you're going to sit there and try to buy stuff.
It wasn't until the Ninja Turtles came out that they were even allowed blue and red and purple in the store, so.
It's either that or go to Child World
or Funtown.
Right,
growing up
for all those got bulldozed. But you mentioned the game. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember of what sold you. You said Sonic.
So I think Sonic was it. It's weird. Like I have this distinct memory of playing certain games. I played a lot of Bonk for TurboGrafx
Bonk
for
was
some
awesome.
reason. Like, and that and Sonic are the two that stick out the most to me from Genesis.
What I really loved about it, and one of their big selling points, was the sports games. Because Nintendo, that wasn't a very Japanese thing to do.
All right, I wanted to thank you for bringing this up because I'm not a sports guy, but what sold me on Genesis, and it's the dumbest reason.
Like Madden 92?
No, it was even earlier than that. Tommy Lasorda Baseball on the Sega Genesis, and I'll tell you why. Not the game looked great, right? No, had nothing to do with that. The game looked great. But I found out if you hit a home run in a certain section of the game, you hit the Batmobile in the parking lot, and it makes the glass shatter as the ball hits the Batmobile, and the crowd goes nuts. That sold me on Genesis for no reason. I am an idiot.
That's kind of awesome.
That's awesome, though.
I was sold by Streets of Rage because I was like, oh shit, I can get the crap kicked out of me and then eat a turkey and I'm back to full health.
And then the same friend said, oh, you want to play Buster Douglas boxing? And I hit him with the box because I was pissed because that pulled Mike Tyson's Punch Out off the shelves.
Yeah, that game was not as good as
It wasn't. It was horrible.
Oh,
also, I started to notice, too, Genesis started to kind of duplicate what Nintendo franchises that they had there because they did a version, it was a knockoff of the Final Fantasy franchise. I think it was called Fantasy Star.
Fantasy Star, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
And
Fantasy Star was fun.
I had a friend that played this all the time, and it looked like a cool game. And I was like, oh, I want this and that. And then another friend told me, just get Final Fantasy. What are you doing with that shit?
I will admit, I did play Fantasy. Now that you said Fantasy Star,
Fantasy Star
I played
was a great
Fantasy
game.
Star.
It did.
But I would rather play FF3.
It was an RPG, a role-playing game for you people where you were one character and then you could switch out your posse with you, and you had 4 people following you in a weird zigzag line as you traveled through some kind of like moon base.
Oh.
But Sega was super conscious of what Nintendo was doing. So it's not a coincidence. You're spot on that it was like them saying, "Oh, what's Nintendo up to? We need our version of that."
It was a blatant knockoff.
But even Sonic, he was literally designed through a mascot contest to come up with their Mario Killer. They knew that they needed their franchise
fun,
character.
bright, colorful, energetic, in your face. Kids will love it.
I don't want to give it away. I want people to read it. But when they get to the part,
people don't read, Matt.
But when they get to the part of the book,
wait for the movie.
where they describe Japan's version of Sonic and what they wanted him to look like versus America's version,
Tentacles.
I want to play the Japanese version of that character. He sounded badass.
He had a busty girlfriend named Madonna.
And spiky teeth.
He sounds like Blanca from Street Fighter. But
a little bit.
So you're telling me they didn't bring this over, but they brought over that shitty Mario 2 from Japan, and then put him and Wart as the frog at the end of the thing instead of Bowser?
But that was a skin, right? They put the Mario skin on top of some other game Nintendo at the time.
That's exactly what it was. But you didn't know that at the time because Nintendo Power's not telling you that.
Well, you kind of thought about it because you were like, this doesn't look like anything else we've ever played.
And then when 3 came out, you go, What were they doing with the second one? They're like, all right, that didn't work. Let's go back and punch up the original formula for Mario.
Give me a Hammer Brothers suit any day.
So where do you guys stand on Mario Brothers 2 now, looking back?
I enjoyed playing it for... It was a fun game. It was difficult, way too difficult in some parts, like those desert areas where you wait, I have to go under the sand to move over. I'm going to die. And if you didn't have Nintendo Power, you were kind of effed. It's a fun game, and it's fun to go back and look at it and then play it for maybe about half an hour until you want to throw it against the wall and then realize this is a piece of shit. But Mario 3 is where I can go back and play that over and over again.
Yep.
I still like to. I'm not going to lie. That combo pack came out, whatever it was, a bunch of years ago, and it had all of them on there. And I think I played 2 a bunch. Just something about the guys that spit the eggs. I think probably because it reminded me of the cartoon, too.
Yeah.
Was kind of set in that 2 universe, sort of. So, I don't know. I like to. I'd still play it. I mean, 3 was the shit, but
3 was the shit.
I would still play 2.
I used to burn out the television screen in my room because I'd be playing Mario 3. And it just came out, and on Saturday...
You had a TV in your room with the video game?
Yeah,
but you didn't have 2 systems.
I didn't have cable, I just had the TV and the video game thing, right?
Yeah.
So I have the game, and I'm playing it, and on Saturdays, my family insisted on quality time and wanting to go out to dinner and a movie, and I'm playing the game for 8 hours, and I don't want it to stop.
His eyes are bleeding.
So I pause it, not thinking to turn the TV off while we go to the movie. And I come back up. As soon as we get home, I'm running back upstairs to play the game. And now, I'm in I think it was World 8, where it's all dark and fire and castles. You go to play, and the screen's all fucked up.
Oh, no.
Because you're sitting there, I'm playing the thing, but I'm still seeing my pause game where it says pause across the screen. My dad was not happy.
Terrible.
So I have a question. During this whole console wars, was when the movie The Wizard came out, was that a huge act of war by Nintendo, or was that just a coincidence that they were using Nintendo products for that movie?
No, that was before that came out actually. That came out in December '89, which was a couple months after the Genesis came out. So that was when Nintendo was still on top of the world. But I was just thinking, as you're telling the story and talking about Mario 3 being the shit, that was the first time that we saw it.
It was in that movie.
In that movie, yeah. Back in the day,
Fred Savage crapped his pants.
The Power Glove.
He was all ready to play everything, take on all comers. Mario 3, and the guy who looks like Michael Bay now is just shucking and jiving on the screen, on the stage there, and all kids like, I don't know this game. We are totally effed.
So that was I remember that was. Because usually video games just sort of appeared out of thin air in your store, or you would see it in Nintendo Power, but it wasn't like film where it's 6 months in advance. It's we know that this movie's coming out, or here's the first teaser trailer, but that was the first time that there was hype for something, and that we knew what was happening kind of over in Japan. But in terms of in the console wars, because Sega wasn't really a player yet, it didn't really factor in. But where it did was Nintendo. They didn't think the movie was good. I think it was it was the kid version of Rain Man.
Yeah.
And it was
who was the
very
dad?
mediocre.
Lloyd Bridges, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and Christian Slater was the older brother.
Yeah.
And Jenny Lewis.
Jenny Lewis
from
was the girl
Slater
that
Keeney or whatever the band she's in now. Yeah, she's in it too.
I'd go back and watch it. If this was on Netflix, I'd be watching it right now.
The best scene where he puts it, he's like, I love the Power Glove. It's so bad. It's so bad. Not badass, just bad.
What took me out of the movie, I don't know why I remember this now, but the redhead girl actually grew up to be kind of cute, but I kept thinking she was the redhead from Small Wonder, the annoying one that would come over trying to find Jamie and the robot doing something. And I was like, I always thought it was that girl, and she always pissed me off. So I'd watch the movie, and every time she was on, I was like, enough of her. Just show Fred Savage. And who cares about Fred Savage, too? But just show him in the Power Glove and all the video games. I love the fact that they were traveling to hotel rooms and he brought the Nintendo with him.
Of course.
Foreign concept to me because I'm like, we travel throughout the year, and it never once dawned on me to pack that up and take it with me.
Well, that was also the amazing thing. Like, in terms of the backward compatibility, how hard would it have been to just plug in one system instead of the other? It wasn't like you can no longer play your old games.
I don't know. I was 11. You barely figured out the yellow, red, and white cables.
It never even occurred to us.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, this is going everywhere I possibly can.
You got to be careful with the old NES system, though. If you shook that thing even slightly too much, it would just stop working forever.
Oh, yeah.
Then you were like pushing cartridges in at weird angles and
Silly,
holding
Matt. You blow on the cartridge and you shift it left and right, up and down a few
Like,
times.
at least 6
and then
times.
hold the power button and then let it go.
And then let it go?
Very simple. Just want to go to Cody in Indiana really quick. You know the game that I'm talking about that gives you the seizures?
Yeah, I think I do. Was it Strafe?
I don't know if it was Strafe.
No, I don't.
I feel like it was like Highlander or something weird like that.
They can't all be dingers. Sorry.
No, that's all right, man. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll give you something. Get his address in the back there if we can. Yeah, I'll try to remember that. Blake will leave, and then I'll remember the game, and it'll be pointless. But what else do we need to know about the book here?
I want to hear about your guys' experiences more.
Okay.
Where did you stand on Game Boy Game Gear? Did you guys have handhelds?
I never had the Game Boy. My sister did, and she was not very into sharing. So I was into stealing when she was not paying attention. But they had Mario and the 6 golden coins?
Yeah.
All in the monochrome screen and Tetris. And like everybody had Tetris with the Game Boy.
I had the Game Boy, and I ended up only playing Tetris, but really addicted to Tetris on there.
For me, I really wanted a Game Gear at first, right? Because it was shiny and it was colorful and it seemed like this was great. But I could not get away from Metroid and Zelda for the Game Boy. Like, because those were like, the next steps in those franchises for a bit, right? You hadn't seen anything for your main console. And I was such a fan of those franchises, I stuck with Game Boy all the way. And then, I had Tetris and pinball and all that other shit. But Metroid and Zelda were the two that kept me with Game Boy.
I loved the Metroid and Zelda.
Yeah, man.
They were so good. And this is the game. It was Space Harrier 3D.
That was the game.
And it came with the Sega 3D required glasses that you had to play.
Yes, the black and white, the black tinted one where unless the battery was in, and actually I think it was hardwired into the system. And it would just go, like it would flutter while you were playing the game. But that was the game. I think it was Space Harrier. Was it only the 3D, or did they have a regular version?
Space Harrier also.
The regular version did it then. It wasn't with the glasses because it was just tripping psychedelic landscape as you're just moving left to right while you're flying. The horizon never comes closer, and the ground just keeps moving, and it would get all trippy. And that was the game people were freaking out over.
The picture for this on Wikipedia is hilarious. It looks like something from Rick and Morty. There's like a one-eyed elephant chasing a dude riding a horse while shooting a laser beam. Like, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
It looks like an old D&D manual, to be honest with you.
It's insane.
Brian, just for that, I'm going to send you to the prize closet. What would you like, Brian? Pick a number from 1 to 81. He's not taking
I think he's serious. I think he's serious, Brian. Pick a number 1 to 81.
Oh, me? I thought you were talking about someone on the phone.
No, you're the one who brought up the game.
Let's do 98.
That doesn't exist. You're bad at this.
You goofball.
Never mind. You lose your opportunity here.
Can I do 80?
No.
So,
all done.
The one thing that I thought was really interesting about, I interviewed over 200 people from Sega and Nintendo, and going into writing this book about the battle between Sega and Nintendo, I assumed that would be the most interesting battle in the book. But what turned out to be was this battle between Sega of America and Sega of Japan. Because as much as we remember the Genesis, which was called the Mega Drive over there, as much as it was a success over here, going from 5% of the market up to 60% and beating Nintendo for a period of time, it was never very popular in Japan. And so that was weird, because the parent company was in Japan, and on their own turf, it wasn't even popular. And that was a really big part of their downfall, was that they were jealous of what was going on in America, and they also made decisions to kind of rush to the next generation, like Saturn and then eventually the Dreamcast, and kind of cut the legs out from what was going on in America.
And that's so weird, because as a kid growing up in America, when you'd find out about the Japanese version of games, or the games that not necessarily the Japanese version of Sega, of Sonic, like you were saying, but other games, and you're hearing about this stuff, and like, why isn't this shit in the United States?
How do I port this over here?
They're not selling over in Japan, but they're only keeping it over. Bring it over here where every kid is trying to get it.
And now Sega is no more. Well, I mean, they're not no more, but they're almost no more.
They're here in spirit, Matt.
You have to go to that video game store that's around the block over here. That
Nintendo World?
No, not Nintendo World. There's a place on, it's either 5th or 6th Avenue, and all they have is all imports from Japan.
Oh, wow.
Like every single system, every single console, every single import, every single hardware import. It's insane.
All right, we're going to have a field trip.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's really cool.
That sounds good. We're running out of time here. Let me promote the book so everyone can go out and get it. Console Wars by Blake Harris with a foreword by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. It's breaking down all this stuff here between Nintendo and Sega. It's over a 5-year period, right?
Yep.
And when do we know if when the movie's going to be and the documentary is going to be out?
So we got the 2 movies, the documentary and the feature film. We finished filming the documentary. We are close to locking picture on that, and then Seth and Ev are going to get started on the feature after that. So we're pretty close.
Oh, that's great. So when it's coming out and you're ready to push it for press, come back here and let's talk about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to talk about with this?
No, that's it. It's a great book. I like I said, I'm 8 chapters in, and I think definitely the fans of this show will appreciate it, so they should give it a read.
Amazon, of course, and wherever books are sold.
Yep.
Go get it. Console Wars by Blake Harris. Blake, thank you so much. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
And we're back. It's Erik Nagel, 866-969-1969 is the phone number for the program. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Geek Stuff OG on Twitter and Instagram. Gittles on Twitter and Instagram. Lisa Corrao on Twitter and Instagram. I got it right.
Yay!
We're so proud of you.
Fun talking with Blake. I love talking about old video game stuff.
Yeah, that was really cool, too.
Clearly knows his shit. That's awesome.
And I definitely want to see the documentary. So they're going to do the documentary and a full film.
Yeah, so I'm guessing the documentary will just be... well, you have to read the story, but because there's obviously some storytelling in the story, too, in the book as well. So I guess the documentary it will be probably some of the interviews and stuff that they could actually get.
It's going to be for everyone wants to watch it in whatever format's better for them, like the fictionalized version or the documentary version.
Both.
Yeah, I'm going to watch both.
Gittles, you're going to have to share the mic there just because of the new setup.
No,
we haven't got it all 100%.
Oh, sorry, Robert Kelly.
There you go. No, you can pull it. That's what the whole thing...
Well, I know, but I'm hitting this monitor.
All right, hang on.
Why don't
live on the air?
Does that mic work back there?
Yes, but I don't want him to be sitting all the way in the back there and feeling lonely.
All right.
Let's go to our friends from Neca Toys. We haven't had them in. He's fine. He's not taking calls. Don't worry about it. Our guys from Neca Toys. We haven't seen them in a while, but they're here for the big San Diego Comic-Con preview, which we're excited about.
Of course.
Randy and Chris, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Of course.
Having us back.
There we are.
All right.
Thanks for turning on their mics.
I gotta say, I'm really envious of Randy's shirt. He's wearing a Crazy Eddie shirt.
but it's like Crazy Eddie from my childhood, and then it's Eddie from Iron Maiden. It's like everything awesome is in that shirt.
Yeah, it's a mashup with Iron Maiden's Eddie, which makes it that much better.
I was going to say, did you ever work at a Crazy Eddie's and that's where you got the shirt? But
no,
I wasn't aware it was a mashup.
A friend of mine made this shirt.
It's Eddie. He's like...
no, I know. I was going to say, wow, Eddie was a lot cooler than I remember.
He hasn't aged well at all.
No. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
So San Diego Comic-Con's in a few weeks. NECA's going to be out there representing their goods and wares. Anything we can talk about?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, good.
A bunch of good exclusives. Go ahead.
But before we talk about your exclusives specifically, I want to give you guys some props on something that I think you've probably gotten a little bit of heat over in the last week or two. NECA does something that I appreciate as a fan and a collector, but I know some people are really anal about language. You make some or all of your exclusives available outside of San Diego. So if you can't go, that's correct, right? I'm not misspeaking.
Correct. No, you're not misspeaking. We do it though for a very limited time.
Sure.
And during the time of the convention. Only. So it's not like it's continually available or available all month, or it's like when San Diego's happening, we allocate a certain amount that we put online every day. So people who are at home can order them on the web. And this year, for the first time, we're partnering with a couple of our key retailers, being Toys R Us in about 130 stores, and Hastings out in the Midwest. to make a very small amount available at retail as well for those who can't attend the cons.
But I think that's great. And like I said, I've seen some people give you some heat for it on Twitter, because some people think, well, it's a con exclusive, so it should only be available at a con. But of course, all that does is create this awful secondhand market. And so you're giving people who can't attend these conventions, which, let's be honest, San Diego at this point is unattainable to most people.
Yeah, I mean, getting a hotel is like winning the lottery.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Getting tickets and then getting a hotel, and everything is a lottery. Like at any point in time, a link in the chain could break.
Yeah, and you're done.
Yep. So the fact that you guys actually do that, I think it's great. So I want to give you kudos, even though other people give you shit.
There's one site or guy in particular that's been beating that drum the loudest, and I just haven't even dignified him with the response, because really, it's like, if that's really everything that's going on in the world, you got to sit there and bitch about that. You got some serious problems, and we're keeping our production run still pretty tight. It's not like we made more to justify this. We're just breaking out how we allocate it. There'll be less, say, at the convention and a little bit more available everywhere else. We didn't like amp up the run to just like gorge. It's still limited, and it's only, again, during the time of like that Wednesday through that Sunday that they'll be available. But yeah, I mean, why people who can't attend, why should they have to pay like 5 or 10 times the price? Because some scalper's going to send, a bunch of people over with different badges to keep buying them and sell them.
And people are so weird about exclusives, because I've even seen people give companies guff over like they don't have a San Diego exclusive. They have like, this is our summer con exclusive, and so every con that they go to for the summer, that's the piece that they have. And companies like, that's bullshit. That's not a
you can't have a touring exclusive.
Yeah. And it's like, really? They can have whatever the fuck they want. They're making it and you're buying it. Shut up.
The cons cost a fortune to do. You got to figure, first you gotta pay for the booth. You gotta fly everyone out there. You got hotels, you got meals and travel per diems, all this stuff. Bringing the goods in, the freight, the Freeman, the exhibitor, all that.
Yeah.
I mean, it costs us a lot. So the exclusives helps offset that cost. If anything, we're lucky to break even and look at the show as a zero marketing cost. So we're out there, we're meeting 100,000 fans and showing off what we're doing for the rest of the year and everything like that. And hopefully the exclusives cover all the expense and costs of the show. And we make some cool stuff that normally wouldn't work in a traditional retail environment, we can make for the show.
Right.
And that's the whole plan.
You guys have always been, I guess, of the mindset of, all right, you do what you have to do because that's how the business is, but then you always like, well, how do we kind of fuck this up a little bit? Like, how do we do stuff that they're not doing just because it's cool for us to do and everyone else is going to get mad at it?
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely looking for loopholes or ways to, do stuff that normally we couldn't. I think one of the last times we were in was the Batman thing was a big deal, like last Christmas, and it was like a home video promotion thing.
It was tied into the Blu-ray.
Yeah, for the 25th anniversary of the '89 film. Yeah, so we're always still looking at those angles, and I have some tricks up my sleeve for this holiday as well. Yeah, so there's always stuff like that happening for sure.
So I guess we just asked, what are we looking at for San Diego here? Yeah, what do you have?
Exclusive wise, we've got some pretty cool stuff. We've got one of my personal favorites, and it actually is unfortunately timely, is a Friday the 13th 35th anniversary set. That's Jason and his mom from the original film, and unfortunately about 3 weeks ago.
It's like a 2-pack thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The woman who played Mrs. Voorhees, Pamela Voorhees, Betsy Palmer, she passed away about 3 weeks ago. So unfortunately timed, but certainly it's nice to have this thing out there, sort of a last tribute to her and her role as the original killer in the original film.
Did she sign off on it before
she did,
passed?
actually. Okay. She signed off on it and had seen it, and we had even talked about doing a limited amount of signed cards that were going to be randomly inserted into the packaging, but unfortunately she wasn't well enough to get those signed. We were only going to do about 50 signed editions, and it was going to be completely random, unannounced, like someone's going to get this figure and all of a sudden there's going to be this little signed authenticity card by her, and we were working that out, but she wasn't well and wasn't able to sign them. But she did sign off on the piece and was happy to see the piece. It's the first time a little kid Jason's been done as a figure. It's the first time they've been sold together. It's cool. We have some great artwork on it, done by a really talented artist, Jason Edmonston, who does a lot of stuff for Mondo, a lot of posters and screen prints and stuff, and super talented guy. And it's just a really cool set. And the summer is the 35th anniversary of the original film, filmed in New Jersey. We grew up in Jersey. It's a whole, Jersey thing.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a cool one. And then we've got Pacific Rim, a little box set.
Big fan of that,
Deformed. Yeah, those are really cool. We have a Predator exclusive of the Ambush Predator. We have and a Rambo and an endoskeleton from Terminator done in 80s style packaging based on the old Kenner toys. So the Rambo looks the Rambo looks like the old Coleco line called Force of Freedom,
nice.
And the endoskeleton glows in the dark and looks like the old Kenner figure.
And that bright ass green.
Yeah, we made the card art look the same way. So they're real cool. I mean, we're all about the nostalgia, so it's fun to do stuff like that.
How many do you actually have at the con to sell on the floor?
Like total order, production run of the pieces. It's probably going to be about a couple thousand of each piece. We probably made, I'm ballparking, and some are more, some are less, but let's just say on average we did about 5,000 of each item, which makes them already pretty limited. And then we're going to split that up between what we sell at the con, what we allocate online every day, and what we give to our retail partners, being for this Toys R Us in Hastings.
How do we get online?
You guys are covered.
Yeah, you'll be there.
I know. I'm just making sure that I have a place online here. I'm not hanging around for 24 hours like people waiting to get in the Hall H.
No, we don't do that either. I mean, a lot of these guys give you tickets to go wait on. You wait on a line to get a ticket to go wait on another line. It's like it's a nightmare. No, we move quick.
You wait on a line to get a bracelet. The bracelet enters you into a lottery to get a ticket. If you get your ticket pulled, then you get to buy something, right? Isn't that what Hasbro's up to at this point, I think? It does get crazy.
I work in the industry, and I know some of these people, and it's like, unless someone's giving me a pass or a favor, I can't buy jack shit at the show because I'm working the whole time.
Right.
And you got to invest a minimum of 2 hours, a minimum, to wait on one of these lines.
I love the stories where people hire people to go with them to do to either handle their stuff or wait on other lines to purchase stuff for them.
It's called your wife.
No.
The last time I was in San Diego, and it's been a while, but I remember I sent her to the Hasbro line while I was on the Mattel line. I think that's how we split it on preview night. And that was the only way I was able to get my exclusives from both spots, or guarantee it.
There was something, I know Morgan Spurlock did his documentary piece on Comic-Con, but I think there was something, I think maybe CNN did a run on Comic-Con, but there was something where they were finding that people were paying other people to come with them to hold their stuff, to make runs back to the hotels or wherever the drop off, or wait on other lines while they're waiting online to get this stuff.
I don't doubt it, because Comic-Con exclusives, I mean, literally, you'll see it. Wednesday night, Thursday morning, you'll see exclusives online from preview night.
For these exclusives, now I'm thinking about it, are people going just because they really want the piece, or is the mentality that the majority of the people who are doing all this, they just want to flip it and make more money?
I think it's in my opinion, it's a combination. Because I don't think you go to Comic-Con just hoping to buy enough stuff to make money. I think you go because you want to go, and then you supplement your trip by buying and flipping exclusives.
Yeah, I think the people hope that they can buy their exclusives, and then the ones that they flip cover the ones that they bought. So it's like they
want to break even.
They buy the ones they really want. They buy a few extras, hoping to sell those and recoup their costs. I think is how it usually goes. And that's what we see. And we try to police people coming back. We punch their badges or mark them.
Or their faces.
Sometimes you want to, believe me. But yeah, we try to regulate as best we can, because you got dealers and exhibitors there that are thinking, I'll bring this back to my store. I want to get 12 of them or a case of them. And there's some shady stuff that goes on. I've seen people taking hand trucks out of the back of the Hasbro store booth, some of these dealers.
And there have been times where I've literally just spent 3 hours on the Hasbro line, right, to get the Baroness figure or whatever the fuck it was, and I spent $60 for it. And then the next morning I'm walking the show floor and I'm over in the dealer section, and some dealer is already selling it for $150.
Yep.
And people are buying it so they don't have to wait online. I mean, that's it's insanity.
Absolutely.
It's insanity.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for out of the NECA line here?
Me personally, I really love the Pacific Rim figures, the minifigures. I saw those at Toy Fair. You guys had them in the booth, right?
Yep.
And then that Rambo figure, man. I've been in love with the Rambo stuff. There's some weird connection I have to Rambo. I don't know why. I don't know why John Rambo does it for me, but
I never had the interest in Rambo. No. Growing up, I know, especially in the 80s when it was huge, but I never had any kind of connection.
Just a Rocky guy?
Not even. I think I stopped for a while. It was Rocky 4, and then I didn't bother watching the other ones until...
Well, you don't need to go past 4.
Yeah, right on.
You can actually just start at 4 and just that's it. I mean, 1's great, but 4 is the best.
Okay. So, all right. So then I picked the right jumping off point. But, I never had any connection to that stuff. Predator I did a little bit, but I think it was more Arnold Schwarzenegger than it was the actual Predator, because I also liked Commando which is not a good movie, but
it's a great movie.
It's fucking amazing, dude.
I went back and watched it again. I was just
He's eating ice cream and petting a deer in the opening credits while his daughter's there. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah. We actually have a 30th anniversary Commando figure hitting the end of the summer, and we'll have it on display.
Of Arnold? Nice.
Yeah, of Arnold. Yeah, first
letting off steam.
And a fishnet shirt. Yeah.
Would you go wait online for 3 hours if they put out where he's eating an ice cream cone and petting a deer?
Fuck yes, I would. Hands down, yeah.
Chris is also here. We haven't seen Chris in a while. Chris, congratulations, by the way, on twins.
You. Yeah.
That's not a pun, but a handful to deal with. But I saw when Chris was on his Facebook page, when it was time for the kids to come. He's documenting all the changes and stuff that they're doing. And it was just so sad and depressing when he would show the room that had all his collectibles. And then every day he would document, it's like, packing this in a box. I don't know where this is going. I don't know if I'll see this again.
You just had to bring it up.
And then a few days later, I had to put together these cribs. This used to be where Captain America was.
Cat Museum, R.I.P., man.
But then when he had the kids, he was right there dressing them all up and everything like that.
Course.
So I wanted to say congrats to you. This is the first time I've seen you in person since then. You're going out to San Diego as well, or?
No, I am not. No, I can't make that trek.
He's on dad duty, man.
On dad duty, literally. Yeah.
How's the Chris also does a lot of artwork and stuff on I don't want to say on the side, but for I guess your other interests, your other job. How's all that stuff going? You're still active with that?
As much as I can, yeah. It's mostly trying to stay awake for 2 a.m. feedings, and it's like, ooh, I can draw for a few hours, and then, I mean, I kind of got to give it up. So I'm really trying to find my time. I am exhausted. Yeah, I haven't slept in a few weeks, but yeah, everything's going good.
I saw something. What did I see recently? And it was by Neca that reminded me of. Oh, you guys! I've been seeing this in a lot of the stores now. You have the really big, oversized Marvel figures. Mm-hmm. Like I would see Captain, I would see Iron Man, and Thor.
So you tweeted Thor,
right?
Yeah.
But I saw that one of the remaining FYEs had it, and then I started seeing them in other stores that weren't Toys R Us, stuff like that, like comic book stores. So is this a hot thing now? Because I hadn't seen them until recently, and now I'm seeing them everywhere.
There's probably more of them out there because of Avengers being out, and being a monster hit. But we've been doing them for a couple of years. We have the license for Marvel and DC, but only in quarter scale and above. So it's got to be like 18 inches and taller. Hasbro, Mattel, they control all the smaller scale stuff, but we can do large size.
Yeah, I've seen the aisles in Toys R Us. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I mean, these things were, I think it was at least 2.5 feet.
That's about, the Thor is about 18.5 inches, something like that. So,
1.5 feet.
I wanted all of them. I just wanted to take them all home, but
you should have taken them all home. You have room.
I did not do the impulse buy.
In your museum.
I know. One of these days. Now, maybe we'll stop on the way home. I'll go and pick it up because that Iron Man piece looked amazing.
Yeah, and we have some new ones that will be at San Diego. We're debuting the Hulk, which is 2 feet tall.
Wow.
I have to get a Hulk.
Yeah, it's like your two twins stacked together, basically. Yep. And then we've got a new Iron Man with his Age of Ultron armor.
Oh, nice.
And then we've got a whole bunch from DC. We got Chris Reeve Superman that just came out, a DeVito Penguin coming out this summer.
That Penguin is awesome.
Yeah, that thing is sick.
That thing is amazing.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten I guess the criticism for being sexist because you weren't putting out the female characters from Marvel like everybody else was?
No Black Widow.
Yeah.
We have not. I have heard it in the past with our Alien line, but like Fox doesn't have the license for Sigourney Weaver, so it's like, what are you supposed to do? And we spent about 2 years pursuing her rights and getting her. We do have it now. They're out this summer. I even brought some if you want to give some away, but it took forever to get her to, agree to it and sign off and get on board. But it's like sometimes these fans or these, I don't know, I want to say righteous feminists start attacking you.
Bloggers.
You don't have Ripley, it's like, hey, if Sigourney would say yes, I'd make a Ripley in a heartbeat, So finally that did happen, but we didn't get the Black Widow flack yet. But I've seen a bunch of that stuff, and it's like, they have made Black Widow toys. She was in the Captain America line.
I was just going to say, but I don't think it sells.
Exactly, that's the problem.
That's the problem.
They make it, and then it does not sell because predominantly Hasbro and Mattel are targeting kids, not collectors, and a little boy, right or wrong, doesn't want to play with a Scarlett Johansson figure. They just don't care. That's the way it is. So they put her out there. They put her at one they sell the stuff in assortment. So 12 figures in a box. There's one of her. There could be 3 Winter Soldiers, 4 Caps, Red Skull, blah, blah, blah. She's the only one that's always left, Initially, maybe scalpers are buying it to flip it and resell it, but sooner or later, you'll go into Toys R Us or Target, and there'll be 5 of her sitting on the pegs because no kids want it.
Right. That was my understanding, but then that whole thing came out where everyone was second, and I was like, well, maybe they just don't make them because nobody thinks to make the girl toys for it.
This is the same problem the WNBA is having. Just no interest.
It's sad, but there's all these people that complain about it, and then, they have to do something about it. There was something that, I guess Marvel said that next year, Disney, I guess it is now, said that next year there's going to be all this new product, and they're going to feature Black Widow more and Scarlet Witch more, and all I could think to myself is all these people better go and buy every single bit of merchandise, because if they don't, they're not going to see it again. It's just going to get pulled. And even Target doesn't want to buy. Target doesn't want to buy it. Walmart doesn't want to buy it if it's going to clog their shelves.
Yeah, and even if they do, it's a vocal minority, not the majority, and that really is the problem. It costs a fortune to make and tool these figures, and we don't have that problem as much because it's more of a collector thing. So if it's a character that really resonates, like the way Ripley does in the Alien franchise, it's all about her. You can sell it, but, I wouldn't make a Scarlet Witch or a Black Widow. I can't sell enough of them. I'll make Thor, Iron Man, Cap, Hulk all day long, but I also won't make Hawkeye. So does that mean I don't like Jeremy Renner? It's like...
Yeah, it's stupid.
I can't sell Hawkeye. I can't sell enough of them.
Well, is it more of that the Hawkeye in the comics, the whole outfit and everything is not what's portrayed in the actual movies?
No, I think in the movies, Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch, unfortunately, are not Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk.
You got your big four, your heavy hitters, and when you're talking about dropping $100 on a figure, which is what the big ones cost, there's not enough people that want to spend that on the secondary or tertiary, second stringers.
So let's say we fast forward to Captain America: Civil War when that comes out, right?
Yay!
Sorry. So the big thing is that Spider-Man's supposed to be in that movie. So where does that put you guys as far as getting a license in the Marvel Universe to do a Spider-Man piece?
We should be in a good position to do it because we have an ongoing license that includes the future films that they're developing. They just have to cast him and do it, which apparently
just have to find somebody, a
problem. But that would be cool because we've never done a Spider-Man.
But you don't have the problem anymore involving all the hoops they had to go through with Sony having it?
I think they have the merchandise rights back to do this now. I believe it was very different before with Sony and the Raimi films and what was going on. But I think that it's changed now.
Okay. Well, let me ask something off to the side of this then. With the Marvel line, have you found it to be easier or difficult since Disney took it over?
No comment.
It's never been easy, even when it was just Marvel on Park Avenue here in the city. So we used to do some resin and some statues and stuff like that. But doing the figures with the bigger the company gets, the more difficult it is to...
Because the more people involved.
Yep. And everyone, you're not just talking about consumer products. There's consumer products for Disney and Marvel. Then there's theatrical. So it's like everyone has to look at it. Everyone's got an opinion. And then if you got someone like Iron Man outside the mask, then you got to deal with Downey Jr. or his people wanting to look at the face. And it's just more and more levels and more layers of everyone who has to put their stamp on it. So it complicates things. It's not easy. Some are better than others. It's about what you'd expect for a company as massive as Disney.
Okay. Any other stuff for San Diego that we didn't hit?
Exclusive wise, no, but we've got some pretty cool debuts and products that, license announcements, stuff we haven't shown. One thing that's pretty cool is we're doing Hateful Eight with Quentin Tarantino.
Nice.
Wow.
That comes out Christmas Day, and we'll have some prototypes there for that stuff. We've worked with Quentin in the past, so it's really fun to be doing that again. It looks like a really cool movie, like violent Western with a little bit of that Tarantino spin on it.
Regular figures or?
No, more like the hybrid doll format, so sculpted with like soft goods.
Like the Django?
Like the Django, and like the Django scandal. Yeah, very, very much like that. We're doing Arkham Knight Batman, which
nice.
The game comes out Tuesday.
Yeah. That debacle. Did you hear about that?
No, but the trailer looked amazing.
The game is phenomenal, but whatever company was behind the Batmobile, I don't know the company that was making the Batmobile. I feel like I know them, like I've seen their booth before.
They're local guys too.
But there were some quality, and I'm not even blaming them, but whatever happened, there were some quality control issues with the Batmobile. They pulled it. They pulled that collector's edition. The bad part about it is that there are if that was the collector's edition that you really wanted, now you can't get it, and almost all the other collector's editions are gone.
Yeah.
So you're stuck with just the game. I don't say stuck with just the game, but that's your option now, unless you're going to get something on the second market.
As someone on the manufacturing side, the bigger problem I see here, and I'm not saying this to slander them or anything, is that they didn't make this announcement until about 2 days ago.
That's the problem.
And the game comes out on Tuesday. So it's like, if you know your product is shit in the bed, you know that before now. Like, it takes weeks, 3-4 weeks on a vessel for your goods to come from the factory by boat to the U.S. So you know that there's a problem, and to not announce it or address it until like the 11th hour is a pretty bad mistake.
I mean, I worked in retail, unfortunately, for a long time, in a store that sold video games and movies and stuff like that. And a game like Arkham Knight, we would have had at least a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. We would have had it in the store, in the back room, waiting to go out, right? So at least a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, they should have known.
Oh, yeah.
That at minimum,
left China
right?
a month
at minimum,
ago.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact that they made the announcement on
I think Wednesday. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw it, someone I know that works in the store showed me the letter that he got, and it was like, oh, that's going to cost him.
Yeah,
that's
people
him.
aren't happy.
Do you think the reason why it took a while for them to do it was because they were going to try and fix it, and then they had no fix that, and it just like fell through, or it was just they just pulled
honestly,
it last minute?
And you could speak to this better than I can, but I don't know that they would have had time to fix it at that point.
Yeah, even then, they still would have known sooner. Like, if you were trying to fix it, you're not going to fix a problem that big in 4 days, between when it's going to be released. Like, they would have known that this has probably been ongoing for months, and they didn't know how to react. Or I'm speculating they didn't know how to react or how to deal with it, and just waiting till last minute, I think, is what pisses people off the most. Because, like you said, now there's no recourse. They have no way to go pre-order anything else because everything's gone.
Right.
And people who were counting on this item or put a deposit on it because they wanted this piece.
Yeah, and they're out of luck.
Yeah, you're shit out of luck.
And like the company that's putting out the game, is it back to Rocksteady? I don't know.
Yeah, it is
right?
Rocksteady. Yeah.
Rocksteady's like, we're gonna give everybody a new 52 skin.
Yeah,
woo! Thanks for that. I wanted a Batmobile.
Yeah, they can't be too happy about it either. Rocksteady,
no, because it ultimately it reflects poorly on them. No one remembers the company that put out the Batmobile. All they remember is that Rocksteady didn't give me the game that I wanted.
You didn't get the experience you wanted, and the vendor let them down, but it falls on them because they partnered with that vendor. It's unfortunate. I mean, we get into deals like that sometimes, but you got to always deliver if you're going to make that kind of commitment.
And it sucks because Rocksteady got it back after the last Arkham game went to that in-house company.
But they did that. They never lost it because I worked on both those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they Warner Brothers wanted another game out in between, and Rocksteady wanted time to develop the third and final game and have it on the next-gen platforms. So they agreed to outsource
the middle
offshoot. Yeah, and that game doesn't count in the trilogy because you had Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. The offshoot was Arkham Origins, which we also worked on. And it's a cool game in its own right, but it's not the Rocksteady level of quality.
Yeah,
it's the Bebop level of quality.
Boom. Oh, you.
We're gonna have to take a break in a moment here, but any other notices that we should put out there for San Diego Comic-Con? Because we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk with Jennette McCurdy, and after that, we'll be back more with the NECA guys here because they have all kinds of stuff that I'm really excited about. And I also want to come over to where you guys are set up. Since we'll be broadcasting out there, talk to you guys out there again, and
awesome.
And deal maybe with some of the fans that are trying to push through and buy 6-7 cases, and I want to hear Randy yelling at them. I think that'll be radio gold.
All right.
Anything else that we need to highlight with this?
What else? We brought some cool giveaways that you can handle here on there on Twitter and what have you. As far as Comic-Con, great exclusives. We're going to post all the details on where people can get them who can't attend the cons. We'll be posting that up on our website and blog and Facebook next week. And some really cool debuts, like I said, Commando. We got some more Aliens figures. We're doing figures from Alien Isolation. We have a Christian Bale Batman for the 10th anniversary of Batman Begins that we're going to show off for the first time.
Nice.
We'll have that out there. We got some new Pacific.
Do you press him? He has the gravelly voice.
Oh, God. That's the worst.
Randy's giving me the stink eye.
Yeah. It's just a sore spot for me. I can't get past it in any of those 3 movies. But we got a lot of great stuff.
So much
actually
better.
even worse.
Please go to break.
Oh my god.
All right. NECA, it's NECAonline.com, NECA_toys for both Twitter and Instagram. And next week they'll have all the information as far as San Diego Comic-Con, the new stuff, and where you can purchase it if you can't make it, like Randy just said. Lots of good stuff there. So we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we're going to talk with Jennette McCurdy, the star of Between on Netflix. Be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome to the show right now an actress, if you had kids or maybe you grew up in, I guess they call it the 2000s, you definitely know who this is. Say hello to Jennette McCurdy. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I don't think anybody doesn't know who you are.
Oh, I beg to differ.
No, you're part of that, I don't even say up and coming because you've been doing this for so long, but you're part of that young Hollywood that's making that transition from television into movies and other things where, I don't know how to classify it, but like, you know, there's the Disney genre where their stars break out, and you're part of the Nickelodeon genre where a bunch of those people broke out into many different projects. I mean, you did TV, you do movies, you do music, you pretty much do everything.
Sure. Yeah.
Where do you have time to do all this?
I guess I just do what I like, so it's sort of like I'm doing my hobbies and my career at the same time.
Right.
You know?
But you started when most kids are in school.
Yeah, I started when I was 6. I saw Phantom Menace, and I started acting very, very young, so it's been like 16 years. It's wild.
Wait, you got into acting?
6, yeah.
You got into acting because of Phantom Menace?
Yes, I saw Phantom Menace with my whole family, and I wanted to marry the little boy who played Anakin Skywalker. And I thought, well, we're kids. My only chance of meeting and marrying him is for me to start acting. And I had this idea that like we would meet on some like red carpet event somewhere, and he would propose. Which,
so not only did you want to be in Hollywood, you had the Hollywood romance scenario already in your head.
Oh, in my head. But I don't know why. I mean, it was absurd. Like I thought, you know, we would be a 7-year-old married couple, and like, I was very surrealist, I guess.
For those who aren't aware of some of your the projects that you've been a part of here, Nickelodeon has never not been in its heyday since the 80s. It's one of those networks that constantly has just gotten bigger and bigger as time has gone on, and has not had a dud. Yeah. You know, they really never had a problem, and just got bigger and bigger. You were well known for the iCarly show, and the spin-off Sam and Cat.
Yes.
A lot of those kid and tween to young teen shows come off very pandering. Like they're not well written, and it's like
almost condescending.
Yeah, you're talking to like everybody's an idiot, you know, and
well, hey there, you're like very animated,
and you know, bizarre outfits, and the storylines are so simple because they won't follow anything complex, and God forbid you have a story arc where it continues through episodes. No, they won't pay attention to it.
I think kids are extremely perceptive and deserve that credit, and
So iCarly, I think was pretty much the big launching point for you for doing all these other things. But you started in an episode of Mad TV, right?
Yeah, that was my first. I did like a Faith Hill music video, and then I did an episode of Mad TV where it was a spoof on Kathy Lee Gifford. I played her daughter, her little bitchy daughter, Cassidy Gifford.
How old were you?
6.
Oh, you were 6 at that time. Wait, so you wanted to do acting at 6 and got right into acting at 6?
I think
that's amazing.
It was maybe like maybe 8 months or so before my mom took me to some agencies in LA, and I got accepted. And then I was lucky at the get-go where I got a couple of things, and then it was like a year where I didn't get anything. And that was, you know, very difficult, but a good kind of learning curve.
Well, kudos to your mom for taking you out and doing that. Not a lot of parents would do that.
Yeah, right?
And the ones that do, sometimes they go a bit overboard and actually are detrimental to the kid that's going out for acting, because they become, like pageant moms.
Oh,
those kind of things where they're trying to control the career.
Living vicariously through the kid too. I think my mom was a bit scared of that. She didn't want me to start initially, and I think it's because of the horror stories that you hear about child actors and things. And she was like, I don't want that to happen for my daughter.
Right.
But, luckily, hopefully came out on the other side.
She always tells the family around holiday times, she goes, oh, it was so easy. She got in right away. We didn't have to worry about it. You're here to promote the show Between, which is an interesting project because it's sort of a first. It's a Canadian show.
Yes.
Distributed through Canada, but it has also a distribution deal with Netflix for U.S. and international broadcasting for the shows. But for the first time, Netflix is not doing all episodes at once, so you can't binge watch this.
Yes, and they wanted to do this so that they could give the audience the episodes week to week, as opposed to having to wait until all the episodes aired in Canada and then airing them I guess it would be like July by the time they all finish. So they thought that this would be the most audience-friendly option for them, given the circumstances.
From what I understand, it airs in Canada.
Yes.
And then it uploads later to
that
Netflix.
Night, exactly.
That night.
So Thursdays, yeah.
You get the broadcast exclusive in Canada, and then for everybody else, it comes in later that night.
You totally get it. Yeah, spot on.
Okay. So how did this come to be? I mean, I want to get into the story in a second, but for Netflix to agree to that, do you know anything as to why they would work that kind of a deal? It seems very anti-Netflix to do that.
I'm not sure on like the business end of things. I think they liked the project and were interested in Canadian television. And all I know is when I first got the scripts, I heard that Netflix was a part of it, and that was super intriguing to me because I don't have regular TV. I only have Netflix on my Apple TV. So, yeah, but I'm not sure otherwise.
So while you're shooting this, are you living up in Canada?
Yeah, we shot for October, November, December, and I was up in Toronto for those 3 months. It was really pretty, freezing my ass off every single day, and had to get like an entirely new wardrobe because I didn't have, the right
you're from
clothes.
California,
yeah,
right?
Being from California, yeah.
Right. And was the Nickelodeon stuff that you did, was that all in Florida or was that California?
No, all California.
It's all California.
Yeah, okay. I wish it were Florida because I love.
Because that's a misconception. A lot of people, because they think the Nickelodeon theme park is part of Universal, and then some of those other shows say that they were from Universal in Florida. That everybody thinks everything Nickelodeon is down in Florida.
Well, and like the first couple seasons of All That, which was like a throwback 90s Nickelodeon show, and the Amanda Show, they were all in Florida. So I think they just
Double Dare.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They transitioned. They kind of transferred their studios and all their production to California. I'm assuming just because it'd be easier somewhere in like the late 90s,
just to get you to go to the theme park.
Exactly.
So let's talk about Between, because that's the real reason that you're here. You play. Is it Wiley? Is the name
Wiley,
of the character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a young pregnant mom.
Yeah.
Or mom to be.
Yeah.
But the town itself, because it comes across, it's a unique story, but it also, I guess, pays homage to certain other stories that are similar to it, where it's a town that's, say, cordoned off because of a disease that nobody can figure out what's going on or where it came from, kind of thing. And the whole town is kind of shut down, or at least around it, that you can't get in and out. But it also seems sort of like what CBS was doing with Under the Dome.
Very much like that, yeah.
So what's setting this off compared to some of these other shows that do that cordon off kind of thing?
I think it's the age cutoff. Everybody over the age of 22 starts dying. So the only people left alive are under, and we have to kind of learn what young people would do if faced with the responsibilities that are usually given to people older and more, and wiser and more responsible. And you get to see like kind of the frenzy and the thought process that they go through.
It's sort of, I guess, in a horrific way, it's sort of a childhood fantasy to be where the kids would run the world and there's no adults, but it happens in the most creepiest of circumstances that you're losing your parents, you're losing your friends, your family, all that stuff's gone, but you're left to fend for yourself as a kid.
Yes, exactly.
So how did you get this project? Like, did you audition for it? Or was it somebody had you in mind, said, hey, I think you should read for this?
A person from Netflix actually had me in mind. I was on vacation. I had just finished Sam and Cat, and I went on vacation to Disney World for a month because I wanted to just kind of like clear my head.
Wait, you went to Disney World for a month?
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to like, have fun. And I think, because I have been working for so long, it's so easy to get caught up in career woes and think that that's the be all end all. And I really wanted to kind of keep myself in check by living life for a little bit and like not turning on my phone, deleting my apps and just doing that. So that was my kind of goal. Went to Disney World and then
for a month. I just want to keep pointing that out. You have Kim and Kanye money where you can go for a month.
No, I wish. No, but I guess like 4 weeks in, I got a call. And my agents weren't even sure when I was returning because I told them ahead of time, like, I don't know how long I'm going to be gone for. And they go like, when are you coming back? Because Netflix wants to meet with you. And I was like, oh, well, for Netflix, I'll come right back. So I took a plane the next day and met with those guys, and they kind of broke down the storyline for me. Then I met with the show creator, showrunner, read the scripts and got involved that way.
So it's a Netflix show, but it's Canadian produced?
Yes.
See, everything about this is fascinating because if Netflix is behind it, they have the deal with the Canadian network where they get the exclusive run of the episode, and then it comes back to Netflix.
Right. I think Netflix liked the project and wanted something in the sort of space and the vein that Between hit. So I'm assuming that was their direction in going with it.
I've heard from more people in this industry, television, radio, movies, anything like that, where they have found that between jobs and they don't have anything and they go on countless auditions or send their demos out and headshots and what have you, and nothing comes about.
Yeah.
But it all seems that the second you go on vacation, something
That's absolutely
comes
right.
finding you.
It's absolutely
Something
right.
falls into your lap. Like, I've tried for 3 months since this movie is done. I don't know what to do. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to go away for 2 weeks. And then when I come back, I'm going to try the whole process over again. And as soon as you go away, you either get contacted or when you come back, your agent says, oh, these people want to cast you in something else. And then you got your next job.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really natural. And I think, you know, in this day and age, everything is so career focused and it seems like it's synonymous with our identity. Like we are what we do. And I think that's completely unhealthy and something that I definitely struggle with and finding my identity away from the things I do. But that's why it was so great. Like when, I went away and I started living life. And then when I got word of this project, it wasn't like I had been waiting on pins and needles for a project. So it was that much more exciting because it wasn't like it was some sort of like the thing that I'd been living my life for or something.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Let me just give this information out because I'm still fascinated about the fact that you were at Disney for a month. The show is between, it's on the United States and I guess internationally it's on Netflix. In Canada, because we broadcast in Canada as well, it's on the City Network.
That's right.
Right?
That's correct.
So the episodes are Thursdays at 8 p.m. on the City Network. And then for Netflix viewing, it's 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. They'll be available on their server so you can watch all that.
Yes.
Disney for a month.
Yes.
Where did you stay?
I switched, I hopped around a couple different resorts. So I did the Port Orleans Riverside and the Port Orleans like central location. I did, the Caribbean Beach Resort. I did the Contemporary Resort and I did
nice.
Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Wow. That's usually family for little kids kind of thing.
Yeah, well, so I did, because I was staying so long, I didn't want to just like spend excessive amounts on a hotel room. So I stayed like Animal Kingdom for a couple days, Contemporary for a couple days, and those are the pricey ones. And then switched over to like Port Orleans. And my grandfather used to work at Disney, so he finagled a little bit and got me a discount, you know? Yeah.
There you go. Anytime I go down there, I usually stay at the beach club because it's nice.
Oh, nice.
It's isolated.
Yeah.
And you can, no matter whatever your condition is, you can just walk 40 feet down the river and you're right in Epcot.
Do you go often?
I try to. I don't get to go as much as I would like to, but it's pretty much every couple of years or so. But I guess that's enough so that you don't get sick of it. Gives them enough time to update and new attractions or whatever, so you keeps your interest from going every few years.
Well, I haven't been to Disneyland. I live, semi-close to Disney.
I've never been to Disneyland either.
Are you serious?
No.
Well, see, now you can't go because I feel like if you're exposed to Disney World first, Disneyland seems like, why is this even here? It's so much smaller, whatever.
Right.
I feel like Disneyland
but it's the
thrives off
OG
of its
theme
charm.
park. It's the first.
I know. So it's charming.
Can we go?
Let's go.
I'll pay for your ticket.
Oh, wow. That's so kind of you. I'll buy you a churro.
That works. And
Excellent.
then I'm going to put on the fake knee brace for you so that we can get past everybody and get right to the front of every ride.
That's so smart. That's so smart.
That's why we always took my dad's elder aunt with us.
Okay. Or we could just push the children down.
That too. But now there's cameras, so you can't do that nowadays.
Damn it.
You've had a bunch of different projects, and I guess being tied in with all of Nickelodeon stuff. You've done episodes of Zoe 101, which is Britney Spears' sister, Lynn, her show.
I did not want to audition for that because I had to kiss a boy. I was 12 years old and I remember crying when I got the audition saying, I don't want to do it. And I didn't. And then my manager, and it was also my birthday. I sound like a crazy Disney freak.
Picture your mom just grabbing you by the shoulder. You get in there, you kiss that boy.
Kiss him.
This is paying for your college.
No, I didn't want to do it. And then, I guess they saw a bunch of girls and then they didn't cast anybody. And my manager called back again 2 days later saying like, hey, will you go in on it? Cause
you got it by default.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
Is it sad to look back and go, oh, I was just the last one there. Nobody else wanted it.
They couldn't find anyone. No, yeah,
but
it turned out for the best.
It did. It was a stepping stone to bigger and better things. How did that translate into, cause you've done Will and Grace and Malcolm in the Middle, little pieces here and there, but how did it translate into landing, I guess what you could say a full-time role with iCarly? How did that come about?
So the executive producer and creator of Zoe 101, Dan Schneider, actually wrote or tells me that he wrote the part of Sam in iCarly for me. So it was because we had worked together on that show and he, I guess, liked my style and he wanted me to be a part of this new project.
How do you react to that? How great is that to hear that they wrote something specifically with you in mind?
It's wild because I think
it's like a rock star saying, I wrote this song for you.
Yeah, well, and it sounds, and when I put it that way on paper, it sounds very like overnight, luck of the draw, but I think it's so important to position yourself well for having those luck of the draw instances, because if you're not like prepared and you're not whatever, like, you can't open yourself up for a chance encounter with somebody like a Dan Schneider who's going to be, that willing to like write a part for you. So I was really, really, very fortunate.
So you go through all these little steps. You watch a movie at 6 years old, and you're like, I think I want to try that, and you get it that year. Yeah. And then it's little stepping stones to a show where the guy writes a part for his next show and says, I'm thinking you're going to be the person for this. And then you get this huge show.
Sure.
And then everything just keeps coming right to you as you go down the line.
Yeah, but I'm not without my, lows and everything. And I think, an important thing to emphasize was that from age 6 till that lucky break with Dan Schneider was 8 years of constant audition. I mean, I was auditioning sometimes 3 times a day, and it's you here.
You don't need to be humble here. Let's talk about how great you are.
I'm just saying it's hard.
Here. It's okay.
It's a very hard business, and I think if somebody's looking into it or interested in it, if you love it, don't worry about there's gonna be a lot of moments that suck, but just keep sticking with it.
The show is it's on City Network in Canada, but it's also on Netflix in the United States and internationally. If you're in Canada, Thursdays at 8 p.m. you can watch it, and everywhere else on Netflix, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time. It's up on their server. You can check this out here. Before you go, I just want to ask you a question, because you're in a unique club where there are groups of people that become stars when they run through the Disney gamut from shows on the Disney Network. And Nickelodeon sort of has the same thing, where you have people from these shows that go into other Nickelodeon shows and then wind up on bigger and better things.
Sure.
It's a unique club to be on a network like that spawns so many celebrities. Do you feel that, especially the girls, when they hit a certain age, the tabloids and everything kind of get a little creepy with it, because, she's 16, wait till she's 18, guys. And then they purposely are looking, for photos where you're on the street, and then you may be wearing a tube top.
A compromising position.
And the way
something.
you're sipping a coffee or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're trying to over-sexualize these girls who are on these kids networks that your kids watch and everything.
Definitely.
How do you deal with that when you're still doing these, the Nickelodeon shows, and then you're seeing yourself on the internet,
Sure.
and they just got the right photo for them, but at the wrong angle, and it's just too suggestive of that, but you're underage.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I think I was very protected by my parents and by my family, and I was very, very innocent for quite some time, and I feel like I've done a lot of growing since maybe I was like 18, 19, but up until that point, I was very much like a child, and I would go, online, maybe to Twitter or something, and I'd see pictures that people sent me that were photo edited,
right,
where, you can use your imagination to think of what people added. And it was like, I'm not going to say traumatizing. It didn't ruin my life, but it was very hurtful to me that people would make something out to be something so different from what it is. Or I remember one time somebody on Twitter had said that, like, I guess I had said something kind of in a defense of like being wholesome or something, and somebody bagged on me for that and said like, you must be so fake that you would say that you don't, use profanity or something like that. And then I think, that really got to me. And then I kind of started trying to be more like, they don't like me for being wholesome, so I better be something else. And I think it kind of messes with your mind a lot. And I really feel for everybody who
because you saw it like with I'll say Hillary Duff a little bit, but more with Britney Spears and Miley Cyrus, where they were getting to that age where all the press was kind of pushing on them, and they're like, I have to kind of get rid of the wholesome image from being at Nickelodeon, being at Disney, and go do the sexual pop star kind of thing like that.
Yes.
And you've managed to not do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I certainly, have had my scandalous moments, I guess, but I feel like everybody is it's just hard to grow up in the business. It really is. There's no other way to put it. And to be kind of under the microscope and have people hating you no matter what. It's a hard pill to swallow, I think, when you're young and you just want to be liked. But I think recognizing that being yourself is going to lead to a better fulfillment is the best, thing.
How did you I don't want to get into the whole story, but you had an incident with a photo that got out.
Yeah.
How did you, when you found out about this, how did anybody deal with that?
Well, I felt that people were in some ways blowing it out of proportion. I think, relatively speaking, the photos were innocuous, and I was very hurt more by, I knew where they were coming from, where the photos came from, whatever. And I think that was hurtful to me. And, it was really embarrassing. Like, I didn't really want to walk outside my house for a week, because I mean, even like, guys would just kind of make comments if I would like get a Starbucks or whatever. And it maybe took a month or so later, it kind of seemed to wash over. But, the fact that people are still bringing it up to date is something that kind of sticks with me. But I think accepting that as maybe just a lesson to learn from was the best I can do.
Were you still under dealings with Nickelodeon at the time?
I was. Nickelodeon was extremely supportive.
That's what I was going to say.
They were so
it's
supportive.
incredible that they really stood behind you on that. Because I don't know how Disney would have reacted. I don't think they would have been as I don't want to say embracing, but, supportive to you if you were under that umbrella.
Well, Nickelodeon called me that day and said, if there's anything we can do, we're so sorry. And they sent me like a cookie basket or something.
It's not like you tweeted it out or something like that. It's an attack on you. So the fact that they were behind you on that, because honestly, if I was in your position, one, I don't know how I would have handled that if I was a girl. And two, immediately the second thought would have been, oh my God, what's going to happen with my job and my career?
I was worried about it. I really was. I think that Nickelodeon maybe recognized that I'm, playing a 17-year-old and I was playing a 16-year-old, I guess, and I was like 21 when the photos did happen and everything. So not saying that makes anything any better, but just I, was and am an adult. And I think Nickelodeon recognized that fact and was as supportive as anybody could be.
Well, kudos to Nickelodeon for standing behind you and supporting you on that. Yeah. And even better for you that you've managed to overcome that and continue to do great things like Between on Netflix and the City Network in Canada. Make sure you check all that out. And I saw your next project. It's an animated project. The Heroes?
I did that voiceover quite some time ago. Yeah. I barely even remember. Yeah.
That's the other thing too. When you're lucky enough to get into the voiceover world and doing these things, I've talked to other actors and actors and when you say, oh, your next thing's coming up, and they're like, that's finally coming out. I did that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Well, animation takes so long to roll around.
But that's the best job you can get.
Agreed.
Because you can they'll give you a copy. Sometimes you're with an ensemble, but more times you're not. You walk into a closet. Yeah. Yep. If you know H. John Benjamin, he does the voice of Bob from Bob's Burgers.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. A whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
He told me he doesn't get up. He doesn't shower. He's usually got a bag of chips. He puts it down, reads his lines in a closet, then goes back home and go to bed.
That's amazing.
And makes a ton of money for him.
Wow. That makes me really want chips right now.
Well, get chips. It makes you also want animation jobs.
Yeah, that's true.
See what you can do for that. Jennette, thank you so much for coming on. You're very sweet. And come back for the next project.
Thank you. That'd be fun.
If it's the animated one or whatever else you're going to do.
All right, sounds good. I'll bring chips.
Follow her on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, Jennette McCurdy.
That's right.
Good for you for getting that because usually squatters have it and you got to pay a lot of money just to get your own name.
I'm lucky.
Like, there you are. And watch Between on Netflix.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are back on It's Erik Nagel. If you want to give us a call, 866-969-1969. We got a lot of stuff to give away. We have a copy of, you can turn that down a little bit, Lewis. Thank you. We got a copy of Console Wars signed by Blake Harris. He was on the show earlier, so we have a copy of that to give away that he signed. The NECA guys were nice enough to bring some stuff here.
Yep.
I was sorting through, seeing what was going to make the cut for the listeners there. But it's Series 5 of the Simpsons line, which has the celebrities like Tom Petty, Adam West is in there, Lenny Kravitz. There's a weird version of Homer dressed as Lenny Kravitz in there. I forgot the episode. It was the episode where they went to rock camp. And Milhouse as Fallout Boy.
Oh, nice.
Ooh. And Matt Groening is in this line.
Isn't there a Stan Lee one in there, too?
There's some Stan Lee ones in there as well. So we have that to give away. But, of course, the really important thing is the Greg Opie Hughes prize closet of all his media that he's giving away or was about to throw out, and I took it and I said, let's give this away. So you can call in and try to win one of those things after I went through it.
There's a theme here I'm noticing. There's cherry picking going on.
Stop breaking down fourth walls, people. Illusion, theater of the mind. Matt, Gittles, Lisa, myself here, Chris and Randy from NECA are also still here. We're having a good time. We're going out to... We've mentioned Florida SuperCon for next week.
Right.
It's also the 1 year anniversary of the show, but we'll be down there doing some broadcasts and interviews and all kinds of cool stuff. Next Friday will not be a live show, but it will be a new show. It'll be the episode of Too Many Interviews, where it's just going to be a whole bunch of interviews that we've done. Brand new, including Patrick Warburton, Bella Thorne. Who else? Oh, I forgot the list here.
Return of Bella Thorne.
Yes, Catherine McPhee. If you watch Scorpions on CBS, it's a great show. Joanne Garcia Swisher from Astronauts Wives Club, and a few more will be thrown in there for good measure. But Saturday will also be a new show, and that will be the show from Florida SuperCon.
Nice.
With all the interviews and everything we're doing down there. And then in a couple of weeks, we're in San Diego. A lot to keep on tap here.
You're a busy boy.
And we'll be doing stuff out there, and also NECA will be out there, so we'll reconnect with these guys again and see all the great stuff that they've been talking about and all the stuff that they still have yet to announce.
Sure.
So make sure you follow them on, you can go to NECAonline.com for the website, but NECA_Toys for Twitter and Instagram. They'll have the updates there, their Facebook page, all the stuff that you can get Neca stuff. In the next week, you'll find some really cool shit that you definitely want to be a part of.
All right.
I think we covered everything.
I think so.
So let's talk about stuff.
Okay.
What kind of stuff do we want to talk about here? Do you want to talk about some of the movies that are coming out?
We can talk about. There was a couple of movie things that kind of popped on our radar over the last couple of days. The serious one, the goofy one, and the crazy one, or as I like to call it, the Ghostbusters set pics.
Right. The new Ghostbusters, they're taping up in Boston right now, which is supposed to be, it's all built up like New York, which was weird because the original Ghostbusters was not shot in New York either. It was shot in Philadelphia. And a lot of the buildings and stuff were all, done up, and the license plates on the cars to look like New York.
Sure.
Why can't they just shoot it in New York? Too expensive?
I hear that New York is not easy to film in. Lots of permits and licenses and all that fun stuff. And, they want to do it where they want to do it.
Permits, licenses, tax breaks, like lots of different things that factor into that.
But you're going to get more of a tax break in Boston than you would in New York?
You might.
If Boston wants the revenue.
Boston wants the revenue and the money, yeah.
Okay.
That's why Breaking Bad was shot in Albuquerque. It's why everyone's shooting everything in New Orleans right now. It's just cheaper tax credits. And a lot of Canada, too.
Okay. Well, the pictures came out. It was one, Paul Feig?
Yes,
the director, Feig. You got to be careful with that last name. So he's leaning back kind of cocky, but he's got a beaker and he's pulling out ectoplasm, the new ectoplasm is going to be. And then there was shots of Kristen Wiig, Melissa McCarthy, and Kate McKinnon.
Correct. Look, I'm not even going to say I'm going to hate the movie. I think that Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, I think they're talented and they're funny. And I think Paul Feig has done a good job, putting out those movies thus far. I still just don't understand why we need a new Ghostbusters movie. New in any way, shape, or form. New cast or a follow up to the last one. Can't we just let it go?
Ass.
No. In all seriousness, I don't even want to see a Ghostbusters 3. Like, I would rather the franchise just lay happily where it is. Let me keep my fond memories of where they are.
All right, had they done it in because we thought this was going to be some kind of continuation, but then it turned out it was going to be a reboot.
Right.
Yeah. With at least the girl version.
Right.
Would you be happy if you saw a transitional Ghostbusters where if Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray were in there and they kind of like they were selling off the business or they were retiring and these guys were coming in taking over the business?
I think the problem is that they would spend the entire movie trying to recapture the nostalgia
and asking where Egon is.
Yeah, of the original movie, and I don't know that I need to sit through that. I honestly think the franchise is okay where it is, and they should, if they want to do like an animated thing again or something like that's fine. But I don't think that we need another live action Ghostbusters. Just my opinion.
Well, there's that.
Chris seems to agree with me. I mean, you can chime in with it.
Yeah, I'm good with the original too.
Yeah.
Even the video game, which technically they're considering Ghostbusters 3
the video game was great.
Was by far better than anything they're going to put out now.
That game was really cool. You played Rookie.
Yeah. Except they really wanted to drive the car, and they teased it where they're like, "Oh, let the rookie drive the car," and they're like, "Nah, we're just kidding." And I'm like, "You motherfuckers!"
The gameplay was great. The story was great. Yep. I don't know if Bill Murray voices stuff for the game. He did. Okay, so they were all there voicing their characters. The levels were just too short, I thought.
Yeah.
But the gameplay was fun. The detail was amazing. If you haven't played this game, go to GameStop or online or something like that and get it for the PS3 or the Xbox 360. It's definitely worth the money to try that out. But they showed a lot of or not a lot, but what they could show so far of what they were doing with the new Ghostbusters. Kristen Wiig even had a little behind the scenes video. That you could watch for that. It really didn't say much. It was just, hi, I'm in Ghostbusters and we're taping it, and that was about it. Dan Aykroyd came out saying that he likes what they're doing here. He's fully behind it. And thinking that, all right, if you're thinking, well, see, he's one of the guys who wrote it and there's credibility behind it. No, because he came out all for it because he makes a good chunk of the money.
I was going to say, do you expect him to not come out and say anything that's going to, he's directly impacted financially. Of course he's going to endorse it. Not to mention
and coming next, Great Outdoors 2.
Yes. I'm done. No. But, no, why? And they're still doing that other Ghostbusters. They are still potentially doing a Ghostbusters 3. that he's going to be in. So of course he's going to endorse this one.
But they're supposed to run parallel, right?
Yeah, they're creating a Ghostbusters universe. It's like a Ghost World thing. Oh, no, not Ghost World. That was a movie. But I don't know. They're creating this like multi-film franchise universe.
I know, and I believe we mentioned this before. We didn't think that the Ghostbusters universe would be... There'd be enough to sustain it.
Well, logically, it makes sense. Of course, you would want multiple versions of the Ghostbusters in each major city, let's say, right? There's logic to
like
the
3
thought
Voltrons.
process. Sure. No, not anything like 3 Voltrons, but there's logic to the thought process. It just doesn't need to be made on film.
All right.
Keep it in a comic book, keep it in an animated series or something like that. It just doesn't need to be made on film. You're never going to recapture that chemistry.
Right. Look, I'll have to go.
I mean, Ernie Hudson needs a job. I get it, but you're never going to recapture
I'm trying to be
that.
nicer to Ernie Hudson these days.
Look, that's your choice. I'm not trying to be nice to anybody.
Go ahead.
No, I was laughing.
I'm trying
I hear
to
Ernie Hudson. I get memories of him hitting.
That's
on me.
good, you know.
Con, sorry.
He wanted some.
You got Iron Maiden smacking your ass like drums.
Look
you got
at me, everyone. Not that little fat girl
grade A
anymore.
Talent. I'm all for more Ghostbusters stuff. The girl thing threw me off, and it's not just because I don't want to see girls doing it. All right, yeah, it's kind of I don't want to see girls doing the Ghostbusters. If they worked in Ghostbusters in girls into the Ghostbusters thing, like it was a continuation of the story, but years later, I wouldn't have had a problem with it. But to reboot it, it just seems like you're breaking what isn't broken.
Let me squash all of your concerns by saying that Chris Hemsworth is on board this project. He is going to be playing the Annie Potts character.
Oh, because guys are girls and girls are guys.
That's it. So that I thought was a bit in our face, but I like Chris Hemsworth, so I guess. Will I see it on DVD? Maybe.
Is Slimer going to be a girl too?
I don't know if Slimer's going to be in it.
Oh.
We don't know that. Maybe Slimer's still in someplace else.
The Stay Puft Marshmallow
Can
Woman.
we move past Ghostbusters, please?
No, now that I know that you're frothing at this, we're going to keep going with this. If anyone wants to talk about Ghostbusters, 866-969-1969. What other movies did you want to talk about here?
I wanted to talk about Jurassic World because I think that it's...
Lisa went to go see it.
Did you
saw
like
it the other day.
All right.
I'll admit that I liked it for that it was fun.
Sure.
It's fun. I saw it in IMAX. It was big, and the dinosaurs look really, really cool. Jimmy Buffett's in it for a split second. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Was he singing Volcano?
No. Yes.
Does he get eaten?
He just goes to jump out. You just see a tourist jumping out of the way with margaritas.
Oh my God!
And
really?
you don't know that it's him. I just read on the internet that it's
That's
him.
hilarious.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. This is a weird one. Like I feel like I want to see it.
It was fun.
But it had huge opening weekend box office. It beat Avengers. I mean, it took the #1 spot for opening weekend.
Yeah, if you go in knowing what it is, obviously there's going to be a bunch of cheesy lines, of course.
Dinosaurs.
Chris Pratt is awesome.
Of course.
And the dinosaurs are super cool, and it's basically you kind of get the same feelings as like from the original movie. So
Sure.
for that it's still entertainment and fun. So there you go. It's not going to win an Oscar.
Aw. John Williams. What a great score.
Yeah.
Spared no expense.
I thought the idea of it as the way they made it like a theme park felt like a real theme park.
What I really wanted to see was I wanted to see Chris Pratt's character be the kid from the first one all grown up.
That's what I thought it was going to be.
That
I
would
didn't
have
see
been
it,
at least kind of like a good sort of story. But I want to see it.
Is there still time for him to reveal it in a sequel?
He'll be doing Indiana Jones by then. So I just wanted to say I thought it was huge that it beat out Avengers though for the opening.
By the way,
box
Chris
office.
Pratt. He's just falling ass backwards into every major franchise.
He's not actually doing Indiana Jones, by the way. I was just kind of throwing that out there as a goof.
I thought I heard
you heard it here first. Chris Pratt's Indiana Jones.
Actually, he just had an interview the other day where he said the only call he's received regarding Indiana Jones was from his brother, saying that it would be really cool if he played that role, but no one else called him. So
He's going to be a Ghostbuster.
Oh, that's right. He's supposed to be a Ghostbuster too, isn't he?
Okay, so let's break this down here. Parks and Recreation.
Sure.
Which is doing very well in syndication. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Star-Lord.
They already finished the script for 2.
That's right. So
So
they're
they're
going to filming soon, I think.
Right. Jurassic World.
Right.
He's part of that. So whatever they do next time with Jurassic World, he's probably going to be attached because it's Made so much money.
Well, let's see how Weekend 2 does, because that's a pretty important piece of that puzzle. But yes, I agree.
$8 million. Because they already got everybody else's money. Maybe attached to Indiana Jones. He could be hornswoggling here.
Maybe.
All right. Then what else is he attached to?
Potentially Ghostbusters.
So this guy, in the next 5 years, never has to work again in his life, but he's part of so many major franchises that he'll just constantly be making money off merchandising.
Maybe. I don't know. Look, good for him.
I'm very happy
he's
for
awesome.
him.
Yeah,
when he was up here, he could not have been nicer. He was a cool dude.
I want to move into Star Wars, but I don't want to talk about Episode 7 or Rogue One. I mean, unless someone wants to talk about Episode 7 or Rogue One. I want to talk about that video that Gittles shared with us.
Oh,
the guy that took all 6 movies
and overlaid them and played them all at once.
Did you guys see that?
Yes.
I only lasted about 3 minutes, I think, before I had to tap out.
Why is really the question.
Yeah,
What is the purpose?
He was bored. I'm not quite sure. I mean, it really is like a terribly bad acid trip. Not that I've done acid,
it's
but
insane.
I assume that's what it's like. Yeah, it is insanity.
I was watching it probably for longer than I should. I watched it for about like 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
And because the thing is, I realized that after I started watching it, I could actually focus in on one of the movies, and I would just pay attention to that one while all this crazy shit is just flying around.
I hope it was Empire.
Yeah, it kind of was, yeah. Hey, look at that. There's my picture.
Oh.
What are you doing, Eric?
I'm trying to
my
pull
Twitter?
it up there so everybody can get a seizure and twitch on the floor.
Oh my God, yeah, it is definitely that. There it is.
This one here?
No, underneath it.
No, it's all sorts. It's the one that says all 6 Star Wars films at once.
Yes.
It kind of gives it away
Well,
there.
the other one said, I cannot wait to see this movie, so it could have been that.
No, that's Turbo Kid, and you guys should all watch the trailer for Turbo Kid as well.
All right, I'm just going to give you a tiny bit of the audio here.
All right.
Not only that, it looks like the opening credits to True Detective, like from season 1 with all the holograms and people like going through bubbles.
Joining me now, South Carolina.
That is
Fox
the wrong
News.
audio.
Oh, they switched it off the board here? Oh, maybe it's this one. There it is.
Well, this is tripping me out already.
Like, you can't even make out what you're watching
No,
here.
this is like in 2001 when he's like going through the colors changing on the ship. It's insane.
You know what the part that stuck out to me the most?
Like, look at C-3PO just staring at us in that hologram.
It's creepy, right?
Terrifying.
I don't remember Attack of the Clones well enough, I guess. Did it really open with that action sequence in Genosha? Like, I'm watching all like other slow things play out when the video first starts, and I'm like, wait a second, I don't remember any of that from episode 2. I guess, do I have to go back and watch episode 2?
I saw it once, and all I remember was there was a robot with a lot of lightsabers, and I didn't like him.
All right.
That's all I remember.
Grievous.
About it. Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't in 2? Was he in 2?
No, 3.
He was in 3.
That was 3.
Yeah.
My bad. See, I don't even remember the movie.
Well, anyway, if you want to look, I have it up on eRock Radio on Twitter, and look up Gittle Base on Twitter as well. He's got the link up there. You can check it out.
And watch the trailer to Turbo Kid also.
And later, we'll put it up on our Facebook page
There you
now
go.
that we have working, because it's now $19.99, and we've reached there. Facebook.com/It's Erik Nagel, and we'll use that until we can get the actual website working, but that's a whole nother set of headaches that we'll get into another time here. Pixels. You excited about this? Because I'm getting half the people are and half the people aren't.
No, I think at first I wanted to be, but the more I see and the more I think about it, I think it's just going to be a shit show.
The problem with it is that all it is that segment from Futurama where they do the anthology of interest where the video games attack. That's it. That's the whole movie. Like, it's almost the same exact plot line to that 5-minute
That's
sketch
exactly
on Futurama.
what it is. You're
That's
right.
exactly what it is.
Yeah. No,
like the Space Invaders attack and they got to fight Donkey Kong. It's stupid.
I'd rather a Wreck-It Ralph sequel, I think, if I'm going to see a video game.
This could be a live-action Wreck-It Ralph.
No, don't do that. You just give me a Wreck-It Ralph sequel, please. Just to keep Wreck-It Ralph.
You know what? That Pixel movie had some great ideas. Let's do a live-action Wreck-It Ralph.
No, boo. Boo to you.
What
Chris
else
Pratt as Ralph.
What else was?
I do like Peter Dinklage, though.
That's the only draw for me, though, is Peter Dinklage, and I don't think that's enough. Unfortunately,
I don't think
he's got a mullet.
He does have a mullet.
Oh,
He's
I
rocking
didn't
it.
realize that.
Jersey style. He's a Jersey boy. Morristown, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think his mom's still here too.
I think she's still in that area. Yeah.
Brand new from Pixar and Disney opens today.
Oh, Inside Out.
Yeah.
I really want to see it. I've heard great things about it.
I do too. Opie and Jimmy had Lewis Black in earlier this week.
He plays Anger, right?
Yeah, and Bill Hader was in the building. He plays Fear.
Right.
And I think he's coming back for Trainwreck. I'm not 100% sure. But Inside Out looks amazing.
This reminds me, I'm going to go old school Epcot on some people. This reminds me of a ride they used to have at Epcot called Cranial Command. I guess it wasn't really a ride. It was more like an interactive show. But you sat in a theater and there was like 6 different screens to either side of you, and it was the inside of an adolescent boy's head, and like it was like Hans and Franz from Saturday Night Live, like, we want to pump you up. They were the heart. So instead of emotions, it was like different body parts, but it was pretty much him, like, falling in love with his first girlfriend. But that's kind of.
Was that in the same building where they had Body Wars?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, yeah, and you'd like shoot all the.
Yeah, and you go like through the arteries.
It was in the Land Pavilion. In Epcot.
The Land.
That's what it's called, the Land.
No, I don't think it was in the Land Pavilion.
Yeah, it was.
It was over by like the Universe of Energy, like on that side.
Yeah, I thought it was all the same building. Though. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. But yes, it was the same spot that Body Wars.
Yeah.
So there you go.
All I'm thinking of is Carousel of Progress. Now is the time. Now is the best time of your life.
It'll be there forever.
And it always ended in like 1986 when he had the huge like Hitachi projection television. And I think the 5th dog that was alive in that series, because each time his dog died and he had a brand new dog.
The real funny one to go on is go on Spaceship Earth, where they start to get to the future of like hologram TVs and like living in underwater like homes, and it's like, no, that's so wrong. And it's like, this is going to happen in the year 2006.
I wish they would bring back the rides that showed what the future was going to be. I think that's so cool.
Well, they did have that Will.i.am hologram during like the presidential election or whatever that was, and they did have holograms.
Well, there was a Tupac hologram at one point in time, wasn't there?
Chasing kids throughout the park.
As a complete aside for Tupac, I have to mention this because it's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I was shopping for my son in a kid's store a couple weeks ago, and my son is 4, so he's like wears 3T, 4T. In 3T t-shirts, they had Tupac and Biggie shirts.
Where were you shopping?
I was in Kidstown, which is like, I guess it's just, I don't know. It was in Jersey Gardens Mall over there. And, but I'm like, I kind of wanted to buy my son a Tupac shirt just because. I was like, I think it's going to send the wrong message, though.
No, I think it's right on par because for those who don't know, Matt's son has learned to beatbox. He breaks into some freestyle at the weirdest times, and he thinks he's developing new beats.
He does.
That's super cool.
He's influenced by Brack and the Fat Boys are his major influences.
Has he seen Disorderlies?
Not yet, but we're getting there. So yeah, those are his 2 major influences. When he gets to be a famous beatboxer, I'm going to introduce him to Biz Markie next. Yeah.
I want to go to old fan of this channel,
Sure.
Snowy in Michigan. He wants to talk movies. Snowy, how are you?
How you doing, Eric and guys and gals there? How you doing?
Hey, Snowy, how's it going?
I've been having up to my tits with reboots, man. Really. I mean, it's bad. I mean, a couple weeks ago they were talking about redoing Big Trouble in Little China.
Yep.
Oh,
really?
no.
Ugh.
Who's the lead in that one?
The Rock.
The Rock. Yeah.
I wasn't saying Chris Pratt,
but it's like rebooting. I mean, I didn't like that last Karate Kid movie. You didn't need a remake.
No, you didn't need anything after 2, really.
Yeah.
You could even argue you might not need 2, but
wait, you didn't need Hilary Swank?
No. The next Karate Kid? No.
Where did you sit? Go ahead.
It's a Fantastic Four movie at all. They're not even paying any attention to the origins.
No, that's going to be another. I think that's going to be another shit show. But that's Fox's fault. I blame
they saw
Fox.
that coming. That guy who directed it was supposed to do one of the Star Wars spin-offs too, and they fired him.
Yeah, Josh Trank is outski. Yeah.
Why?
We're doing another Spider-Man reboot. A third one?
No, that's actually not going to be a reboot. That's going to be the characters are. It is sort of a reboot, but they're not doing an origin story. The characters are already going to be established. Josh Trank he says that he decided to leave Star Wars. Nobody fucking leaves Star Wars. If you're directing that movie, you stay on that movie. No, he was politely asked to leave, I think is what happened after they saw what happened. And he was apparently really difficult to work with on Fantastic Four.
There's a lot of stuff online about what went on during the filming. It's not pretty.
All sorts of damages to Yeah, I mean, it was ugly, so I think he's out of the Lucas wheelhouse for the time being, and he'll make Chronicle 2 or some other garbage.
Vivid Video, there's always something out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Snowy, I'm gonna hook you up here with something from Opie's collection here. Pick a number between 1 and 81.
About 66.
66, my friend. You won a copy of the Bob Newhart Show Season 1 DVD unopened. Cool. Enjoy that.
Cool.
Appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to put you on hold, all right?
Thank you, Snowy.
Thanks, man.
No problem. And I just want to get to James here because I know what his problem is, and we had a problem here, too. James, hi, how are you?
I'm great, Rock. How are you?
I'm reading the thing here. So James was the guy who won the Jim Kelly book a few weeks ago when we had them on, and him and his daughter Erin signed a book that they put out, and James won it. The thing was, it came back. So somebody, either I wrote the address wrong or somebody gave it to me wrong. I still have it. It's just sitting in the desk there. So when we're done here, I'll put you on hold. We'll get your address again, and I'll send it out to you first thing Monday morning.
I appreciate it, man. Hey, and if you have anything by chance from the iCarly young lady, my 11-year-old absolutely loves her.
No, I didn't get anything from her. It was a little creepy to do that.
Now he's just getting creepy, I think.
But there are some fine photos that were leaked online. You can go and Google those.
I don't think that would be appropriate for his daughter.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm saying for him.
Oh, okay.
Just getting like those brain Jello mold containers.
Appreciate it.
All right, James, I'm going to put you on hold. Sorry, had to deal with that. And let's get his information back there if we can. I did go, haven't been, excuse me, I'm choking. I haven't got a chance to see many movies unless it's for work where we have to make the time. But I went to go see, are you a fan of the Insidious franchise?
I have not seen any of the Insidious movies.
No? Ready?
First one.
You like the first one?
Second one was bad enough that I don't want to see the third.
All right. Well, the third one is actually the prequel, and it shows you where everything led up to where the first one started. Actually, it was pretty terrifying. I mean, I don't usually freak out at those things. It's maybe because I'm not in the theater, but having the theater experience to watch that, I was jumping a lot watching this movie when certain shit was going on. There's a scene. It's not spoiling anything because, one, the movie's been out for 4 weeks, and I think they finally showed it in the trailer now on TV where this creature thing goes flying out the window. Right. And she's in an apartment building. So she's slowly walking over to the window, and she looks over to see if the thing's dead or whatever. And the thing's hanging on the building, grabs her by the shoulders, and starts yanking her out the window while her dad's holding her feet and stuff. You know, I was like, I saw it in the trailer. I'll be all right. And then I watched it, and, holy shit, I was freaking out over it, and I felt like such an asshole for doing it. But I was just like, I was the fifth person in the theater, so I really didn't care. I just let it all go.
Yeah, screw it.
But I do have to recommend it. I know people were skeptical on the second one, like Randy said there. He didn't think it was that good. But the third one, which is the prequel, I thought really it was a totally separate story, and then only combined the rest of it at the very end, where like, okay, now this makes sense. But if you haven't seen it, if you haven't watched it, the first one, I think, is still on Netflix.
Right.
You should definitely check it out. As Bob Kelly said, it introduced day ghosts. Because all these kind of paranormal things and possessions, they're always happening at night and during storms and really creepy situations in a haunted house. The ghosts are outside during the sun. Like kids are walking home from school and there's shit outside that some see, some don't. It's terrifying when you're thinking about you're not even safe during the day.
Like It Follows?
No, that's just weird too.
But
Did you see It Follows?
Those things were out during the day.
Yeah, that was just some lazy thing that was slowly chasing you that you could easily avoid.
I didn't hate It Follows. I thought it was all right.
I didn't hate It Follows either. That girl was stunning in a one-piece bathing suit. But that's just me.
All right, One Track Man.
So check out Insidious. Another movie I saw was it just kept showing up on iTunes. So I was like, all right, I'm going to pay the $5.99 or $4.99 was to rent it, and it had Adam Sandler on the cover.
Oh no!
And it was called The Cobbler.
What?
Did you see this?
No, I thought it was about dessert. So
okay, I did too. Wasn't. He inherits a business from his old Jewish father, who's a cobbler, a shoe guy. Repairs and making boots and things like that. And he discovers somewhere through the movie, when his equipment breaks down, that his dad has this old enchanted I don't want to say sewing machine, but whatever that machine is, where you're working the pedal, so it's putting the leather and the fabrics together and everything. And then he finds out that if he wears the shoes of somebody who brought them in to be repaired, and he repairs it on this machine, he can put the shoes on and live their life. He turns into them. So throughout the whole movie, he's just wearing different people's shoes. And at one point, he's Redman from Wu-Tang Clan, because he's in the movie. And he's a dick, and he's just like beating people up and smacking his girlfriend around. So now he's got to try to, fix that situation.
You haven't sold me.
No, I'm not selling you. I'm just telling you this movie exists. Steve Buscemi plays his neighbor, but it turns out that he's really somebody else that you find out later in the movie. It's like the whole movie, he's just trying on different shoes and getting into sticky situations by becoming other people.
This sounds like the worst movie ever filmed.
Yeah, it sounds pretty bad.
Well, you need to watch it now because it's so bad.
No, I'm going to save myself and my energy. I am not watching The Cobbler. I'm refusing.
I'm going to do it.
You should. She's bored late at night after her sets.
It's true.
Yeah, because if you watch her Periscope, she's drunkenly eating pizza in her kitchen while her roommate's farting up a storm, and they just like this, just laughing at each other, and you're like, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
But you were intrigued. You stuck around.
I was, because I never saw her on Periscope before. I'm like, all right, I'll see what she's doing. I was like, oh my God.
Sorry. I had one glass of wine after a show, and things got crazy.
Ooh. This is Lisa's dark side. We're learning all about it tonight.
Yes.
Let's see what else we had here.
We didn't talk about E3, but I don't know that we have time to talk about E3.
We don't have too much time for that. Do you care that Crystal Pepsi's returning?
Yes, I want to rehab Crystal Pepsi.
Oh, why?
Ugh. It's gross, but I do care that it's returning.
I want Crystal Pepsi, damn it.
Crystal Pepsi was horrible.
No, it wasn't.
It was not what the hype led up to be. For some reason, I remember it being kind of minty, but people keep saying it wasn't minty.
It was not minty. Not to my recollection. It was kind of like Spritey.
All right. Well, it's coming back, or at least it's supposed to be coming back. I don't know why people are coming back.
But I will buy a Crystal Pepsi. I'll probably hate it, but
I think it falls under the same camp of everyone thinks that they loved it when it was out because it failed horribly for Pepsi. Didn't sell well, people weren't drinking it, but everyone now swears at how great it was and they can't wait for it to return. It falls into the same camp that I feel as everybody's mindset with Ecto Cooler.
I know for a fact that I drank a lot of Crystal Pepsi when it first came out. I have distinct memories of specifically seeking it out. Whether it sucks now, I don't know. And Ecto Cooler is still the shit. I don't care what you say.
I never thought Ecto Cooler was good. And
Ecto Cooler is amazing.
Because it's been gone for so long, I think it has this kind of mythos around it where everybody thinks that Ecto Cooler was so good that everyone loves it. Everyone talks about how great it was. They put it on a pedestal as probably one of the best beverages ever made. But if it came back, I guarantee you the sales would not be that good.
If you found a big ass can of Ecto Cooler, punch a hole in it, stick a straw in it, and I drink the whole thing.
Not going to happen.
What if they do an Ecto Cooler reboot to go with the new Ghostbusters?
I was thinking that too. They'll probably bring it back.
If they bring back the original, I'm down. I'm coming in with a can of it one night, I'm telling you, and a straw in it. I'm going to drink the whole episode.
Like the big 64-ounce can that you need the triangle fucking hopper thing.
Like the old Hawaiian Punch stuff?
Yep.
Yeah. No thanks.
No. That's just me. I don't remember Ecto Cooler being that good. That's why Ecto Cooler didn't last that long, and it's been gone for so long that everyone just has this image in their head that it was amazing and how great it was, and it really was shit.
I think you're mistaken. It didn't last that long. I feel like Ecto Cooler was around for a real, long after the film, long after the cartoon. I feel like Ecto Cooler was a staple for a long time in the high C world.
I've seen it within the last 5 years in the supermarket.
Didn't it come back out? I thought it came back out at one point.
I don't know.
Well, you can do that research.
I will. That's my
next
homework.
Next week, let's find out how long Ecto Cooler has been around.
I'll call you while you're in Miami.
And when did it go away?
Know.
Yes. Well, according to the music, our time is up.
Aww.
So we have to get out of here.
We
do thank everybody for listening.
Indeed.
Let's first off start with the guys in studio. Randy and Chris from Neca Toys. It's NECAonline.com, NECA_toys on Twitter and Instagram. And keep an eye on that and their Facebook and stuff because they got more announcements for San Diego Comic-Con. And as they said earlier, you don't need to be in San Diego to get some of this stuff, but you have to pay attention time-wise because while it's in San Diego, it's available. When San Diego's done, so is this opportunity to get this stuff. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, cool. So check all that stuff out. They also gave us Simpsons Season 5 which I'm really excited about. We're going to sort through this, and we're going to give some of this stuff away.
Yeah, we got some other stuff to give away.
You got some, well, I didn't know what you were keeping and what we're giving away there.
We got
stuff from
we
Alien,
got
Terminator.
Yeah, Twitter, Instagram. Keep an eye out.
Right, and we got, of course, Blake Harris was on the show earlier with his book, Console Wars. Yep. We have a signed copy of that, so follow us on Twitter for that as well. We have so much to give away. We cover everything for you two over there. Matt?
GeekStuffOG on Twitter and Instagram, and of course, if you want more geeky chatter, bkgeekstuff.com each and every Thursday.
Gittles?
You can follow me, Gittlebase, on the Instagram and Twitter, and yeah, that's all I got to plug.
Lisa Corrao.
Twitter, Lisa Corrao, Corrao.
Any upcoming dates?
Yeah, I'm going to be with you guys in SuperCon. I'm going to do comedy down there.
Next week?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to plug that we're going to be at SuperCon next week.
Where? Where's SuperCon?
It's in Miami.
Oh.
I have a feeling he's going to be late for the car to get to the airport.
Yeah, he ain't making it.
No.
All right. Next week is our 1-year anniversary for this show, which is amazing that we've gotten to this point. Man. Of course, always, thank yous go out to Opie, to Don Wicklin, and everyone here at SiriusXM that allowed this to happen. And, of course, you, the listeners, who have been very vocal through social media and other realms to get us to 3 hours on a Friday night, each and every Friday night going forward. Maybe more. I already saw, as soon as we announced 3 hours and we did the first show, saw on Twitter, it said, Nagel needs a fourth. Hashtag. And I'm like, oh, hold on. Let's just get 3 hours out of the way, and then we'll deal with the rest of that.
You're going to be like Krusty when the TV goes out and he's just broadcasting 24 hours from the shack in the desert.
Right. I will never go away. Next week, like we said, Friday night is going to be the night of too many interviews. A lot of great stuff on that show. It's not live, but it is a brand new show.
Right.
Saturday will be also a brand new show, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, as we are live from Florida SuperCon in Miami Beach with a lot of great stuff. Gittles, Roland, myself will be down there. A good time will be had by all. A couple weeks after that, we'll do San Diego Comic-Con, but we'll get into all that stuff. What else do we have here?
I think that's
everything. Oh, we're on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we've joined the 2000s finally. Facebook.com/It's Erik Nagel. You can follow us there. E-Rock Radio on Twitter and Instagram for myself. And, of course, we also have a YouTube channel. It's Erik Nagel for all the interviews and other cool stuff that we do. All goes up there. This show will be available on SiriusXM On Demand in a little while. So if you missed it, you can get it there. And I think that's it. Indeed. The next time you hear from us, we will be live in Miami Beach from Florida SuperCon. I cannot wait. Woohoo! Until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be seeing you.